Hey everybody, if you see me on the For You, please do come in and say hi. My name's Banana Ann. I talk all things true crime. Hi Amy, welcome on in. Just going to quickly share this out. So I don't mean to go quiet. If I do, I'll be talking about more than one thing today. Obviously, one of the main things that I will be talking about is what happened in Berlin yesterday. But I'm going to quickly share this out. Please say hi when you're popping in. Hi Kenzo, hi Diane. Apologise if I go a little bit quiet. It's not obviously meant. For those that are new and that don't know me, my name's Banana Ann. Well, Ann. I talk all things true crime. Probably a bit too much because it lives in my head rent free. And talk about new, old cases. Hi, Viva G. Talk about new and old cases. But at the moment, I'm obviously talking about a few new ones, specifically this one today that obviously happened less than 24 hours ago. I've been following this all day. I was thankful that I'd had an early night last night and had a little bit of a nap, because when I did wake up, this is what good evening, Brummy Mummy. Hi Adele, and welcome on in. Obviously, I was asleep early and then woke up and to the breaking news that had happened last night. I was up until about 4ish this morning or something, following this, and I was back up again at about 9-10 o'clock, and that's when there was more updates. And obviously, as the day has progressed, we've heard more and more and more and more, which has been a significant amount. Like, first and foremost, a huge amount of respect for the Berlin police and the quick action. I am well, Adele, hope you're well. The incredibly quick action that they'd taken, the fact that they managed to retain a lot of panic that could have happened, obviously, when, yes, they've done amazing, like absolutely incredible. Hi, Sarah. There was thousands of people there last night when this happened. Thank you so much for the heart, me. There was thousands of people that were there last night. They were heading to the main stage, and thankfully the vehicle never got as far as that because of the measures that were already taken in place. Now, for those that don't know, the CSD is a huge event. Thank you so much for the Go Popular, Adele. It's a huge event. Thank you so much, Adele, for Europe. Thank you so much for the fireworks. That's so cute. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's very much appreciated. Now, for those that don't know what the CSD is, it's a celebration of equality and love, and it's true for the LGBTQIA plus community to come together and celebrate a few days worth of Pride celebrations. It's one of the biggest Pride celebrations in Europe, obviously taking part yearly. There had been concerns last year that something was going to happen, but it was highly reported that there has been. Thank you so much for the heart, me, Brummy Mummy. It was reported as well last year that there was some concerns that something may happen because there seemed to be a considerable amount of targeted attacks in general. We are all aware that the LGBTQIA plus community does get attacked quite considerably. And in fact, there was the anniversary recently of the Pulse nightclub shooting as well. But this was, as much as people think that something may happen, I don't think they'd expected something like this. Now, I'm going to update you, Sarah. Thank you so much for the follow, Southern Girl. So I'm going to update you in full in regards to this. So those that are joining, please do come on in, welcome in. Clearly see like, this isn't just for display or show. I actually got this a couple of years ago for when I went to Edinburgh Pride March. So no, this isn't all for show in the slightest at all. Now, it was 11 o'clock, just after 11 o'clock when I'd heard about this, because it just happened at 10 o'clock in Germany. So thank you, Moss. There was a vehicle, and initially suspected it was a car because there was so much confusion at the time that was going on with the eyewitness event. No, it's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for the follow. There was obviously so much at the time was going on, so at the time when this was breaking news, when I caught it, there was still a flurry of, they weren't 100% sure about what it was. So when I caught this happened just around 10 o'clock. There was still huge celebrations going on in Tiergarten Park. And if I'm saying that wrong, I am so sorry to anybody that speaks German. Like, incredibly so, because I know I butchered absolutely everything, and that included one, thank you, Sarah, that included one of the posts that I did where I said there was a helpline, to the point that I had to go back in and edit my caption just to make sure that the place to send in pictures and videos about what actually happened, for as in the people that were there to send in the pictures and videos about what happened, were to obviously send that in. But thank you so much for the follow, Lisa. Now, they came off, I can't pronounce the name, but begins with B. They came off this road and they went straight into revelers that were celebrating Pride. And this man, or suspects of course, had run into the revelers. One woman died. Welcome on in LIS. I'd put a video up about this as well. It is incredibly sad. It's horrific. It's horrible. I'm only doing the stating of the facts before I obviously go into that, because I've tried to not to let my rage boil over when I've obviously been discussing this case, because I've been very much angry at this. Some of the things I have said, I've had to, you know, take back. I've been calling this person all considerable names, and that was just the C word, and you know, that see you next Tuesday word, like considerably, and calling him a bar steward. Thanks to somebody that has that name that follows me for calling themselves bar steward, because you can kind of get what I mean by me saying. So it driven in. I can't run. They're driven into revelers, and it has been stated, then this was eyewitness account of this, they crashed into the tree and they exited the minivan, as it is now known that it's definitely a minivan, and the culprits had weapons. It was either machetes or it was knives. Now, they've not said about if this woman that died from being struck by the minivan, or if it was actually, she was actually stabbed. Until this afternoon, we had only heard, well, this afternoon, late morning, we had only heard that it was about 16 or 17 that was injured, whereas initially at first the reports were saying it was 15. Now, I had been following, it's unknown if there's more than one person, because eyewitness reports said that there was multiple people, that it wasn't just one. So it's suspected that he was the driver, but the main suspect in this as well. But they have stated, when I've seen the press conferences, and there's been a couple today that has been done as well, although I do now know why they delayed one of them, given the fact of the update that I will tell you momentarily, and 21. they had said that it was actually 29 people that were in hospital. That 3 of them were that are in critical condition, at least, but they've not actually given any more updates in regards to the this. Every time I saw something new coming up, because the only way that I could keep up to date, and as much as I hate some of the reporting that Sky News do, they had somebody there and they've been reporting on it all day and all night, and I've been following it all day and all night, so I could bring facts, obviously, in regards to this and put out the videos as I did indeed promise. Now, there obviously at the time, and it was actually, to be fair, at the time of me writing this, a massive manhunt was underway. Thank you for the follow, Alma. And now, the suspect, they are calling it a radical Islamic attack at the Berlin Pride event. It was a targeted attack against the LGBTQIA+ community, my community. You hurt one, you hurt us all. And all of us are very much standing shoulder to shoulder with the community. Our thoughts and condolences are indeed. Thank you so much for the heart me, Amy. They are indeed my thoughts and condolences, everything. Like, my heart is with Berlin. I can't imagine what the family went through, especially the fact that it had been announced there had been a death, and at the time of reporting, and that was even at 4 o'clock this morning, which was 5 o'clock in Germany, they hadn't actually told my political view really doesn't have any semblance on what I'm discussing in the slightest. If you're here to cause bother, I would suggest that you just scroll on, because, to be fair, my mods will take care of you anyway. Thank you, Adele. And just leave them muted, don't unmute them. I did at first ignore it, but then he sort of continued, so I apologise if I got derailed there, because that's clearly what that person was wanting to happen. Now, obviously the van had been driven into the crowd, and there had been either machetes or a knife used to stab victims as well. The suspect in question was primarily, the main suspect in question was named as Abdul Balut, who was known on social media just as Abdul B. I saw, when I did the video to say there was a suspect, but he hadn't been named, it is terrible, Molly. It's utterly horrendous. Thank you so much for the rose, Sarah. I couldn't say the name of the person. Thank you so much, Sarah. I couldn't say the name of the person or put it up there. Thank you so much for the heartbeat, Kate. Because it wasn't right for me to share this, because just in case there was that very slim chance that it was the incorrect person, I did not want to vindicate somebody incorrectly, so it would be a mistake would be on my part. But I saw this. I heard about that he was only 21. I heard that he had been released from a detention centre. It didn't say what it was. And there was a lot more that was getting said, and thank you so much for the heart balloons. Oh, they're so cute. Thank you so much for the heart balloons. They had said that there was rumours already going around social media, well, specifically X, that this person had been bragging that he was going to do something, and he specifically mentioned the CSD event. We don't know if the neighbours had went to the police to report this, but he was definitely on the police radar, 100%. Not only for the violent attack that he had done previously. Now, I am angry that the judge that resided over that case in Berlin had decided that he was going to get a non-custodial sentence. He was initially supposed to spend 1 year and 10 months in jail, but in May 2026, so May this year, it was determined that it was going to be probationary and that it was going to have a non-custodial sentence. Now, in my opinion, and people may disagree with what I'm about to say here, but in my opinion, if you, hi there, Lynn, if you are on the terrorism radar and you've committed a violent attack, getting let out of prison or getting away with not being incarcerated is wrong. And the fact that he was on the radar, yet he got to walk free from a violent crime, that's not right at all. If this person had been locked up, yes, it may have happened already, but we don't know, because we don't know if there is any more suspects. Obviously, this is very much an ongoing case. It's an ongoing investigation. The police are having to still search absolutely everywhere. The manhunt took absolutely hours, but to be fair, there was, at the time when this had happened, there was over 2,200 officers at the scene. They were helping people at the scene. The firefighters, obviously, thank you so much for the Rose. Firefighters were there as well. Thank you so much, Monica, for the Rose. The firefighters were there as well. They were having to give psychology, good evening, Storm, psychological help. Thank you so much for the Rose, Monica, and thank you so much for the heartbeat. This is happening before the election. The right-wing party is now very happy about this because it's affecting the election. I didn't know it was election season in Germany. There was a loose mention of something involved in the elections today, but I never took a lot of notice in regards to this, because the last thing we need to do is in September, I see. Thank you, I didn't know that. But I've got to say, your police force are, like, and that has been 100% serious. I have never seen something be treated the way it was. They ensured that the panic was calmed down. Obviously, there was going to be people panicking, especially people that were at the scene that witnessed what had happened as well. I have heard the... thank you so much for the follow. I've heard some of the eyewitness interviews. Obviously, it's been translated. But the way that it was acted and conducted was like my huge amount of respect to the Berlin police and how this was conducted from the word go. They took a complete no-nonsense approach to this, and they were there and they were everywhere. It would have meant that people, although the rest of the events were of course cancelled, because I know that there was a march today to end the celebrations of the CSD celebrations. If I'm wrong, Ella Rose, please do correct me. The AfD is the party now. All the right people are going on to Muslims. This Miss Man was Lebanese. Oh, Monica, it just happened last night. Ultimately, Lebanese, so he was a German citizen. To be fair, I have some, I wish I was still in Edinburgh, but I spent a Ramadan with a Muslim family because I wanted to understand their faith. I used to say I was an atheist, but I think I'm now agnostic, where I can understand where other people are coming from in regards to religion as well. And I know that the Muslim faith is incredibly peaceful. It is incredibly calm. The Muslim faith is very loving. It is, they respect everybody. Mr. Hasnul, the father, I don't know him as any other way. I didn't know them as any other way other than Mr. and Mr. Hasnell. Although my friend had invited me to go to spend Ramadan with them, he still asked, and it was very respectful. It was lovely. I also work with a woman who is she converted to Muslim, and her and her husband, as well as her kids, when I had a pulmonary embolism, I was invited into their home and I was treated as a guest. I was very ill and they all looked after me, including the husband. So that's not actually what is being portrayed in the media is the worst of it. But in a generalised basis, they don't actually hate women at all. Like I said, I'm LGBTQIA+. I was open and honest about the fact that I did not believe in a God, like what they had done. I understood where what they celebrated and what they believed, and I respected that because I'd spent a lot of time growing up with the Muslim faith. They are not hateful. They really aren't. There is some radicalized people like Abdul that is. Trust me, I've got no blindfold on. They're in the media, you're only going to see the worst of it. These people that commit, good evening Tara, these people that commit acts like what happened last night. Now, I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm very much part of the LGBTQIA+. Thank you, Adele. And I know that as much as they didn't understand me, of course they're radicalised, and I'm also afraid of them as a Muslim myself. Thank you, Ella Rose. I'm going to pin your comment for this period of time, because I do think it should be stated that they are radicalised. And Ella, you're right. The radicals hate even other Muslims because they don't share in the hate belief, because Muslim is a face of love. So Karen, last night at 10 o'clock in German time, a white minivan drove into people that were celebrating Berlin Pride. It was at the Tiergarten, and again, Ella Rose, if I've said that wrong, I'm sorry. Tiergarten Park. It was just beside Tiergarten Park, and he injured a significant amount of people. One woman died, and there is 29 others that are injured. Last night it said there was 3 of which were in critical condition, but no further updates have been advised on how the others are. And it is also known now, because eyewitnesses were saying this all last night, and the reporters on the scene were saying it as well, that there had been more than one person that got out of the minivan after they crashed it into a tree to stop it, which was the sheer force of that. How he walked away from that, I have no idea, because the front of the minivan is basically crumbled. But eyewitnesses said there's more than one suspect. Thank you so much for the heart, me, Marangels. And the police have not ruled that out. The main suspect was Abdul Balut, who one of the things that I'd obviously been discussing in regards to this, he was a German citizen, I'd just like to say. He was of Lebanese background and was well known to the police, and had previously committed a number of crimes. Thank you so much for the heart, me, Tara. One of which was a violent crime, and instead of getting a custodial sentence when he was initially sentenced to 1 year and 10 months in jail, they decided to commit this to a probationary period, so he was actually let out of jail at the time. He was on the radar then, and most likely had been being watched. Thank you so much for the rose, Marangels. This is a radicalized person. This isn't from the and I'm going to say it as this, although it sounds wrong to say it like this, but this isn't from the normal Muslim faith. The normal Muslim faith are terrified of the radicalised people. And the radicalised Muslims hate the normal Muslim people because they don't believe the same way that they do. So I'm putting this cards on the table. I will, and because that is how it is. Obviously, the German Interior Minister had said that they could not rule out a possibility of copycat attacks, so all events had to immediately be cancelled. For the rest of the CSD celebrations last night, it was immediately cancelled, so it means they never had their big parade today. They have obviously risen the threat level, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz promised the attack will be investigated with the uttermost severity. Now, it was at 11 minutes past Tiergarten. Is it Tiergarten or do you actually say the Garten? Oh wait, you said that's right. Oh, cool. So I wasn't. But thank you, Ella Rose, for all your kind words that you've been saying as well. It is horrible, and thank you as well for making sure that I'm saying it correctly. I know it is to be a minority as a Muslim, so I feel for the LGBTQI+ community. Thank you. Why doesn't the decent... But Kaz, in a sense, they do. Their just belief is different. So the Catholics believe that there is the main God and then the Jesus, but that's of the Christian faith, to be fair. The Catholic faith is... Actually, I've seen parts of the Old Testament when it's of the Christian Bible, and that is full of hate and violence, and if you do this, you will be killed. If you lay with another, if a man lays with another man, you will be killed. There was the place that was meant to have been destroyed because of sodomy, because there was, because that kind of sex was happening. This whole place was flooded because God was so angry. Do you know that's not like that in the Quran at all? In the actual genuine Quran, it's full of peace, love. Is there some things that may be questions? Yes, but that's why. But then there's been some that I've obviously given explanations towards some things as well. But so in a way, the decent Muslims do actually stand with us as well. They just automatically get a lot of hate. And for a radicalisation of anybody is basically a cult-like. So if you think of a cult in just a generalised basis, Kaz, okay, so I'm just saying it directly just because of what you said, and there's no hate at all. So if you think of a cult and you get all these promises and that gets ingrained and it's said again and again and again and again and again until you start to believe it. But once they capture that person to radicalise them, they then switch to the hate. They then switch to everything is bad. The white Western people are devils. They are the evil people. They're devil reincarnate. That they're this and they're that and they're this, and they're not realising by that point that they've been indoctrinated into something that's really dangerous. But it's very much the same as a cult. So radicalisation works for religion and for cults. And the way they pull them in is very much the same. So this is not a thing of a hate towards Muslims at all. As I've said, like this person was, they're saying ISIS. So they said, the police said that themselves, the Chancellor said that, the German Chancellor, sorry, the Interior Minister said that as well. The Minister of Interiors or Interior Ministers, same difference, but they said that. That's not coming from me. That's not me spreading hate or any hate propaganda. If you see what's above me and what I'm wearing as well, I am very much a person that will accept, that is acceptance. The LGBTQIA plus community, when I came out as being bisexual, as a bisexual woman, I got so much hate from my family. I got so much hate from people that I used to work with. But then once I joined a workplace and there was a network that I could join, I was open arms. And at one point, they had my story on their X feeds. I was all over the work intranet. My story was shared about my coming out story, about the hate that I received. So as much as this is religious and sexual orientation, they're two very separate things, but I can understand where the hate for the normal, decent Muslims come from. Which, sorry, I know that you think I've went off track, but I'm really not. It's all part of the same basis, because at the end of the day, this does not open up a barrage of hate to the Muslim community. Thank you so much for the heart me happy water. This, and I think it's happy water, sorry, it's because I've got the comments stuck on the one bit. Please believe me, oh, my Muslim friends are also on your side, but you're right, they're not loud enough. Yeah, it's designed to scare into compliance. Thank you, yes. Got to remember, it's only bad news on the news. This is true. Thank you, Ella Rose. Depending on what channel is what side you get as well. Honestly, Ella Rose, it's absolutely fine. Like that's why when like people go, but you don't understand. I may not understand fully, but I can at least empathise about what somebody's gone through as well. So I can understand what it feels like to be pushed aside and victimised because of who I am. And so that's why I've said that message of the fact that this is not about hate. The only hatred that I have is to this suspect, to this culprit. And it was thank you for being here, Sarah. It's quite early. I decided to come on early today because I had more than just one thing to be obviously discussing, and I really wanted to get this one out here. So it was announced today at 11 minutes past 6. It's now 7:39. But thank you as well for popping in, Sarah, and thank you, Adele. Now that German media had announced that Abdul B or Balut is dead. They went, while the police were doing their searches, they came across him in a garden shed in an allotment 40 minutes away from Tiergarten. And he rushed at them. And their words were with stabbing instruments. They've not said if it's machete or if it's knives. And thank you so much for the heart meal, Lala. And he was shot dead. So the main suspect is dead. I hope you're well, Lala. But it's scary to think that he was so close to what was going on after all of that. Police feel that they do have their man, but they've not said. No, it's still not. They've still not said about any other suspects. I'm sure in the days and weeks to come, we are going to hear more information in regards to this. We will get updates as well in regards to the victims too, and that including the naming of the woman who died. Yes, the incident in Berlin. The suspect, the main suspect, the one they had the big manhunt for, he was shot dead by the police during the police operations, and an allotment. Well, he was found in a garden shed, but it was in that allotment 40 minutes away from Tiergarten, and he rushed at the police with bladed instruments. We'll call it that because they said stabbing weapons, but his bladed instruments, and he was shot dead. So Abdul Balut, of 21 years old, who is believed to be the main suspect in the terrorist attack that happened in Berlin yesterday, is dead. And I'm not sad about that. I feel for his family, of course, because it's not his family's choice that he decided to go down the radicalisation route and has then proceeded to do what he has done. But my main thoughts, I was saying that he's got nothing to lose now, so not surprised or sad. Yeah, it's 100% he had nothing to lose. And it's scary to think that, you know, in some parts in the eyes of the law, sentences are given slightly differently. Thank you so much for the heart, Georgie. Sentences are somewhat given slightly differently when it, yes, he was known to the police. In actual fact, and this it's got to bring me on a slightly, it's not a full changes topic, but it is bringing me back to what I had been discussing before. I was interrupted a couple of times. Okay, Steph, that's fair enough. I'll just leave it to what they said. So, yes, he was known to police. He had previously committed a number of crimes, one of which was violent. He had initially had a sentence of 1 year and 10 months in jail. However, this was commuted to a non-custodial sentence, so he was allowed to walk free. Obviously, at that point, you would still be naturally on a radar. Okay, I'm going to mute them now. Bye, Steph. I gave you a chance. But yeah, he was very much known to the police. And this, so I obviously, as I said, I've been watching Sky News all day, so I can actually get the update, even though some of their views are, yeah, it was strange comments. Probably because of this, and probably because of this, which does go to show that, and I've had this before. I came back from, it was my first Pride March. 100% was trolling me. It was my first Pride March that I went to, and it was my second. I don't know, but anyway, I was rather intoxicated. And I put my bucket hat on that I bought because the wig was far too hot. Oh no, it was my second one. So the wig was far too hot, and so was the head piece that I had on. It was much too hot to be wearing, because it was stupidly hot outside as well. So I got a bucket hat because obviously it was great for the shade as well. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to come on live and I'm going to have a chilled out live, and I'm just going to be relaxed, and I'm going to tell everybody where I was. I made sure that people knew, and I was saying, you know, that today for Edinburgh, it was a celebration about love and acceptance and equality and being who you are and being known that, as long as it's legal, of course, and I'll always start off by saying this because I've had a bit of backlash about this before, that love is love, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with celebrating who you are and what your sexual orientation is. And the trolls came. I never muted them. I actually asked my mods to leave them alone, and I was like, don't mute them. I'm sitting back. I was pretty, to be fair, I was pretty hammered, so I decided to start trolling them straight back. And they were saying that I needed to find Jesus, I needed to find God, and I was going to go to hell. So of course I made the jokes of going, well, I'll bring it on. If I'm a sinner, then great. At least I'm going to have a great time and have a bit of a party. You know, because all my friends will be there. They didn't like that, and they left swiftly afterwards. Like, I let Steph have that chance of saying what he wanted to say, but it came to the point that it became too much, and I blocked him. But Oh, no, but they hated the fact that, one, I wasn't taking them seriously, and two, decided to push a propaganda onto me, which was really quite incorrect. Hi, Sarah, welcome on in. But yes, and at the end of the day, I stand with, I hope you're well, Sarah. I stand with my fellow community. An attack on one is an attack on us all, and one has lost their life. It is obviously still saying that the full scale of the police operation is still to come out, but clearly they've either had a tip off or it's just been part of the searches. He decided to rush at the police and decided to kill his dad. They did say he was armed and dangerous, and nobody was to approach them, and they were to call police emergency hotline instead. Thank you so much for the heart, me. But I thought I'd bring you this up to this fully up-to-date, 100% correct as of me talking about this, because it was at 6:36 that it was announced officially by the police. So it wasn't just the German media that were saying it, although to be fair, as soon as German media said it, I immediately put up a post. If it wasn't for the fact that I was away, I would make myself something to eat and decided I should maybe really take a break from watching the TV all day and following this case. So yeah, all up to date, all present. I think that he should have got a custodial. Oh, I'm not trans, I'm bisexual. No, bisexual, fully bisexual women. No. Although, fun fact, I don't actually have my womb anymore because it was killing me. But no, not trans at all. No, I will happily troll a troll, and I'm very much a trans ally as well. I understand that they went through something. It's not mine or anyone's business what your sexuality is. However, I'm very much out and proud as being a bisexual woman. And yes, I'm in a heterosexual relationship. My partner understands. He was a bit like, so what does that mean? Because obviously I was honest with them and said, oh, by the way, I'm bisexual, by the way. Doesn't mean that I'm going to cheat on them, but I just thought I'd obviously let them know. It does also mean that we could be sitting watching the telly and I can go, hey, she's hot. And the first time I did it to him, he went, what? And I was just like, you can't say that other people are hot, it's not a crime. But no, like, I stand with the rest of the community today. It's horrible, it's horrific, and I hope that the 29 that are injured that they pull through, I hope that there's no more deaths. It's been my thought all day, is this death toll going to rise? And it's a horrible thought. It's a horrible feeling. But it is a generalised attack on the community. I know that it's Brighton Pride next weekend, and as much as I don't like the Labour Party, but the Defence Minister, there's only one that we know. Well, there's one victim that's passed, unknown user, but the main suspect is dead. He was shot dead today after he attempted to rush at police at an allotment 40 minutes away from where the Tiergarten attack had happened. Yes. Thank you, Lala. Yes, and we all do, because 29 people have been injured, and we don't know the full condition of them, and we don't know how many of them. No, they've not. I felt even sadder when I found out at 4 o'clock that they hadn't actually told their family. And I went hunting for anything, and that's when I found the hotline number that the people could phone. Is that still showing there? No. I'm not going to be able to find the hotline number now, actually. But I do, in one of my videos, I do say it, as well as the website that the police had put out for people who were at the event to still please do. One is too many, I agree. To still put up any pictures or videos that anybody does have that were there. But and if your friends or family were there and they do have any pictures or any footage about what actually happened, the police are, thank you so much for the Go Poplars, the police are still very much requesting that people do still upload. Thank you for the You're Awesomes as well. For asking, they're still asking for anything to be sent in. There's been a lot of eyewitnesses, but obviously there was a conflict of stories initially at the time because of as much as the panic was pretty controlled, and the police done an outstanding job, like absolutely outstanding job. There was still a little bit of panic. I don't know, Adele, because like the UK's Defence Minister said that they'll be looking at ways to make sure that this doesn't happen in the UK. There is a fear that there's going to be copycats. But I'm going to say this before I move on to anything else. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and I wear my LGBTQIA plus badge with honour. Being of a different sexual orientation should be celebrated. The reason that any LGBT marches first arisen was the Stonewall ones, and the Pride marches were and still are very much a protest. Don't be afraid to go out and celebrate and rejoice of who you are as a person. A hateful act of terrorism like what happened last night is to put the fear into the community, to stop people celebrating, their life, their being and their existence. It is to force people to stay at home and be too scared to come out and, well, play. I suppose you want to put it that way. But don't be afraid. Never be scared of who you are. Exactly, Adele, never be scared of who you are, and never be afraid to celebrate who you are. There will be extra protections that are in place during Brighton Pride next weekend. The government have actually promised that. In fact, that come from the Defence Minister himself. They will put extra measures out. They will try and do it in a way. I was in a live earlier and a girl said she didn't attend London Pride because she was scared. To be fair, and I'm actually kind of guilty of it as well. Do you know why I've not been Pride for the last 2 years? Because I had a fear that something was going to happen at Pride. So my words that I am saying now, I wish I had really listened to that voice that was saying in my head. I wish I had listened to this voice, as everyone has a right to live their life. Who you are makes you unique, and you could be. Agree. It is awful. Agree. I wish I went. I really do wish I went. I've not went for 2 years to Prides because I've been too scared what's going to happen. And I hope that just one person hears this message to say, don't be afraid, go and celebrate. If there's any Pride events that are coming up in your place, or if you're in Brighton or going to the Brighton place to go, we're going to Brighton Pride, sorry, please do still go and celebrate. There is provisions in place to make sure that you are safe. The likelihood of this happening very quickly is very small, and given the fact that Britain is already on very much a high terror alert, I really can't see anything happening. However, I didn't think anything would happen in Berlin after the things that we've seen. I mean, back in March, there was an incident with a vehicle. There was the Christmas market incident with a vehicle as well. 4 vehicular incidents in Berlin in the last 6 years. It's scary. It's incredibly scary, and I do understand. But don't let people like Abdul, stop you living your life. Because he is one person, and yes, he took somebody else's life, and he's injured 29 more. But you still have a right to celebrate who you are, and you have still got a right to protest. People had been asking for the last few years, is Pride still needed? And I think last night's incident very much shows that Pride is still needed. Very much still needed, because there are still people out there that believe that what we are is a sin, that we shouldn't be here, that we should conform to what they see as their normality. But you are normal, even if you are a little bit different to them. Because you know what? If you aren't unique, if you do comply and you do everything that somebody else tells you to do, you become very, very boring, in my opinion. It is a very dangerous world that we live in. Patricia, you are very, very right. My son moved to London and he was scared, but not no more. I will say this, like, the Brighton March next week is the second largest Pride event in the UK. Yes. Outside of, obviously, London being the biggest. And then it's Glasgow, then Edinburgh. Unless I'm being biased because I'm saying Edinburgh. Maybe. And thank you, Sarah. It's true. Every single person deserves to be loved, no matter what sexuality you are. Because love is love. And that's the message that I'm continuing to share. And that's why at the end of every single video I've done is, and be proud. Be proud of who you are. Because for one person of hate, there's a million other that's fully love. So go to Brighton Pride. Don't let this stop you. And I hope if you do go to the next Pride event that anybody goes to, I hope you have the absolute best time. That if you have a little bit, if you do drink, that you get absolutely hammered. Because it's fun. And you feel that you're free to celebrate who you are. And to know that who you love is not wrong. So yes, and I'm saying that hand on my heart, please still go. And I will be with you in spirit, cheering you on every single moment that you're there. Now, speaking of Edinburgh, I'm going to swap to a different case, and it appears we have a conclusion, but not in the sense of a justice conclusion, but we have a oops, why is this not? There we go. This woman is Vikki Soloman, and she was murdered. She was murdered in Edinburgh. This was 6 days ago on Monday. Right, people I know that have been married in a straight relationship now in same sex. Yeah. Because a lot of people still believe that they had to hide who they were. So this woman is Vikki Soloman. And she was 44-year-old. She was an aesthetician and a business owner from Edinburgh who was tragically killed during a disturbance at her home in Craigavar Square, East Craigs, on Monday the 20th of July 2026. Now, here's what we know. And here is what a local has actually said as well. And Vikki and her murderer were very much on and off in regards to a relationship. She threw him out every other week, And the property that he let out, he would have to move back in all the time, which was obviously not sustainable for the person that was letting the property. On Monday, the emergency services were called to her property following reports of a disturbance, and she was found with serious injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. I know, thanks to a local, that she was stabbed. That she did have a stab wound that was through her heart. Now, after Lee did what he did, he walked to a pub less than a mile away and bought a pint. Lee, it was said, was out his face on drink and drugs. There was reports that said he had blood all over him, but the local that I spoke to directly said that there was blood on his arms. And when people were coming up to him as he was drinking his drink, like nothing had happened, people had said, "How's Vikki?" And he coldly, "Thank you so much for the heart me, Hattie." He had quite coldly and nonchalantly said, "I killed her." Which prompted the pub owner to call the police. Lee then attempted to go to the Spice Lounge afterwards and was refused entry because Lee was intoxicated and out his face on drugs. He was arrested and he was formally charged with murder and 2 counts of assault, and he had appeared at Edinburgh Sheriff Court on the 23rd of July 2026. He entered no plea and was remanded in custody. Now, this morning, the case has been officially declared closed because Lee was found dead in his cell at His Majesty's Prison. Edinburgh would have been socked in prison when he was held on remand, with reports indicating he died by suicide. Now, the local that I spoke to said that they could neither confirm or deny if there was any domestic violence previously. However, this incident did end with domestic violence. The local told me that she had formally ended it. She had kicked him out. It was done. It was over. But he was to be going back to feed the dogs. And when he was going back, she wasn't there. He assumed, and I believe this was incorrectly, that she had met somebody else and that he saw this as cheating. An argument had obviously ensued and she was killed in the process. They may not, he's a local. Yes, she does have a child. I'm positive she has a child. I can't remember this exactly. There was multiple times that they said that she was a mother, so 2. Sorry, I tried to remember this when I was speaking to the local. Definitely a mother. Definitely 100% there is a child involved. I don't know if it's his. Sorry. I'm running through my notes that I'd obviously taken at the time. Because as I was covering this, it was actually only Friday that I spoke to a local directly. And they were the ones that told me, I don't know why it's coming up with the puzzle when I never had the puzzle last time, and I've been clearly changing the picture. So it's not like I'm not moving around. But the local did say that, no, I do believe there is a child involved, but there's definitely dogs. They definitely have dogs together. That's one thing I know. So there was 4 babies nonetheless. Now, the case is class is formally closed because he killed himself by suicide. There was only ever one suspect. And that was Lee. Lee Greenan, was 46-year-old and her ex-partner, I think I did say. It may not have been, whether or not there was domestic violence that was going on at the time. But 100% this ended with domestic violence and now a suicide as well. I have no words to say to her family or her friends. I have friends that were friends with Vikki. In fact, one of them on Friday put up a post on Facebook and said that they had no words to say in regards to Vikki, that their heart was broken. That Vikki was an advocate when she was she worked in the beauty industry. And she kept saying that my friend should get Botox, and she was very much a pusher of Botox, but my friend's never got it. But now, given the fact that we're all in our 40s, she's now thinking, maybe Botox would be a good idea to maybe cover up the wee lines. Vikki was loud, but in a good way. She would light up a room. So many loved her. So many loved her. This is a tragic end. Oh, actually, yes, I just got the answer to that question. I did take a note of that, sorry. Now, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Vikki. So Vikki Soloman owned a successful independent skincare and cosmetics company called Vikki Soloman Aesthetics. She had recently given evidence to the Scottish Parliament concerning the safety and tighter regulations of the independent aesthetics industries. And the treasure box, now I say this all the time, you do not have to, thank you so much for the heart me, you do not have to, thank you Hattie for popping that up, but you do not have to, thank you for the roses, Hattie as well, you do not have to at all do the heart me for me, and thank you Hattie. You can take that to, I know, but you can take it to somewhere else as well. If there's more than one coin that comes out of that, I don't expect it all from me. However, Heart Me's do unlock the fun stickers, and there is stickers for people that have dropped a Heart Me as well. Because the Heart Me, it still costs a little bit. I don't care if it's a penny or 2 penny, it still costs money. So you always say that to me, but I always say you can take it to elsewhere, you can share the love elsewhere. I'm absolutely fine with that. You're not indebted to give it to me. I didn't even know I had a gift gallery, so there you go. I think that just must be not normal. Thank you so much for the lighting up my gift gallery as well. Wow, thank you so much. And Sophine, thank you as well for the follow. It's appreciated. And thank you for the heart me. I do appreciate every single one of you. I really do. I wouldn't be sitting talking if it wasn't for you. So thank you for being here. Oh, that's thank you for the rose. Thank you for the roses, Sophine, and thank you for the Go Popular, Sarah. I don't understand why people block people for no heart me's, because at the end of the day, it still costs money. Thank you for the roses, Adele. It still costs money. Like, no matter what. These people still have to top up. It's funny. Sorry. But no, so Vikki was a mother. She described herself as a single parent managing her own disability while caring for her disabled child. Thank you so much for the Heart Me price. So yes, she was a mother. I was right. Now, Vikki Soloman was a prominent advocate for stricter regulations in Scotland's beauty industry, and the police investigation into her mother has concluded following the death or suicide of the primary suspect in the case. Soloman Vikki worked alongside political figures, including the Scottish Thank You for the White Rose, Lala, Liberal Democrats leader Alex Cole-Hamilton, to provide expert advice to the Scottish Parliament. Her insights directly influenced the passage of non-surgical procedures and functions of medical reviewers (Scotland Bill). She campaigned high safety standards to protect patients from unregulated non-surgical cosmetics treatments, and colleagues remembered her as a proud, knowledgeable ambassador for independent aesthetics clinicians. So she was an amazing person. And this is where, and I'm going to repeat exactly what happened. So Police Scotland responded to a disturbance at her Edinburgh home in Craigavar Square at 8:45 p.m. on Monday, the 20th of July 2026, finding her with fatal serious injuries. And the local said that she was stabbed through the heart. Her ex-partner, Lee Greenan, allegedly walked into a local pub covered in blood and admitted to killing her before his arrest. He'd went back to the pub, and that's when he got arrested. But by that time, the pub got locked down. When they say, like, thank you so much for the wink wink. When they say that when he went to the pub, sat and had a pint, and when people asked him how Vikki was, like I'd already said, he coldly said, with no emotion, that he'd killed her. He then tried to go to the Spice Lounge, was rejected from the Spice Lounge, turned back around to the pub, and that's where he was subsequently arrested, because by that point, the landlord had already phoned the police. People use the word covered in blood in a multitude of different ways, and anybody that knows Edinburgh people knows that we can exaggerate a wee bit, just a little bit. And the local said the blood was on his arms and wasn't initially noticed at the time when he sat down with his pint. The local also said that his actions may have been due to drink and drugs. And local actually said on Friday, when I spoke to them, thank you for the follow, Heidi, the local had actually said that they believed that he was probably sobered up and off his come down and having the realisation about what had happened, and he would never step foot outside prison because he would take his own life. Thank you for the heart, me, Ivy. And well, it turns out the local was correct. I've said this to my friends that knew her. Words can't express any way to tell somebody how sorry you are for a loss when it's through illness or if it's through old age. But when somebody's murdered, those words are so hollow. I've not been able to express how deeply saddened I am to hear about this woman. All the stories that I've heard about her since Monday, she sounded incredible. I mean, she wasn't much older than me. And all because she ended a relationship. An end of a relationship shouldn't result in death. And certainly shouldn't result in a murder. Vikki deserves to be celebrated all the time. In every way. If he was suicidal, why take someone else along with you? She didn't want it. Yes, but then I don't know if he was, maybe the fact that the realisation about what he'd actually done had actually hit him. he knew that he was going to, although he made no plea when he appeared at the sheriff court, there, you know, he was held in remand, and he's had time to think and sober up and come off the come down, and all he would have had is his time in the cell to think about what he'd done, and clearly he regretted it. And he decided that he couldn't spend, in a sense, he took a coward's way out. He never told anybody why he did it. Nobody will ever know anymore. And as far as law enforcement, I'm saying, and the courts are, and the judicial process is, the case is now closed. But she deserves to be remembered, and I'm so honoured. The child will never know either. No, I'm so honoured to know the Vikki's friends, and I'm so honoured to get brief glimpses into her life and how she and what she was as a person. I may not have known her, but I now get to see all these stories being shared, and my thoughts are with the community, her family, her friends, her community, her child. Like, that's all I'm able to say. And I hope that if there is such thing as a afterlife and they get to see what people say about them, I hope that she got to see, or at least in life, I hope she knew how loved she actually was, because the tributes I've seen, it's tough to see it, because obviously being in the same city as her as well, and she's not much older than I am. Like I said, we had mutual friends, so and it's a privilege to know her friends and get to know a little bit about her life. So Vikki Soloman, please do rest in peace. You'll never be forgotten, that's for sure. Especially not with the specific mutual friends that we have, because I know that she certainly won't forget you. Okay, next case. Who all knows this woman? Her trial starts tomorrow. I wasn't sure where to go for Lindsay Clancy or to talk about the next one first, but I'll go for Lindsay Clancy first. And it's going to come up with a warning, a restriction, because I'm about to have a cigarette. Now, I'm 41-year-old. It is my choice to have a cigarette when I am live. And also, all my lives are over 18, so there shouldn't be any kids that are here. Now, I have been following this case since 2023, since it happened. It reminded me of the Andrea Yates case, who was a Texas woman who drowned her children, but she was suffering from severe postpartum psychosis, and who had initially been found guilty, and then this was changed to not guilty by grounds of insanity. Andrea Yates has been up for parole multiple times, but she refuses because she has a profound amount of guilt about what she'd done. So this, to me, there is a slight mirror image, but not full mirror image, in regards to the Lindsay Clancy case. Now, I know, and I'm not unaware of this being said, I am staying, I'm waiting till trial to make judgment about what's going on, because she paralysed herself because she tried to commit suicide after she did what she had done, and she ended up being paralysed. Now, Andrea Yates, unlike Lindsay Clancy, had phoned 911 repeatedly, but 911 didn't listen. Not fully, not at first. And Andrea Yates, everybody thinks of the husband when they think about the Andrea Yates case. Well, at least the videos that I've seen when they've covered it. But nobody thinks about the psychology behind what had actually happened prior to to her murdering her children, when she was in postpartum psychosis. Postpartum psychosis is a difficult one in general unless it is immediately medicated and taken care of. The psychosis makes you believe everything that you're doing. So when a mother murders her children, if they're in postpartum psychosis, it also is postpartum rage. They can think that they're killing their child to save them. I don't know how many people are on here that watch EastEnders. Yes, the Andrea Yates one did. Definitely. The Andrea Yates one, that she had begged for help, but the husbands didn't allow that. Do you know that Andrea Yates had begged to be sterilised, but because in America it's up to the husband to make that decision? Andrea Yates had begged the medical professionals not to tell her husband that she wanted to be sterilised, to not have any other children because of the severe depression that she had went through, because the warnings that she had, and that included the warning that she had if she had any more children, that she would be deemed unsafe to be around children, unsafe to be around. Yes, I only know that as matter of fact because, and I'm going to light this cigarette up so it's going to come up the warning. When I was getting my hysterectomy, I joined a hysterectomy group. It was a support group on Facebook, so you got people from all over the world, and it was helpful because I found out that I was getting a hysterectomy at the age of 35, and that's a big, and when you're childless, that's a really big thing to have to go through. So I needed all the extra help and support that I needed, but then I did find out my womb was killing me, so you know, something had to be done. And there was a general chit-chat conversation going on, and it was so I don't have a husband, but I'm getting made to feel guilty because I need to have a thank you to the person that's got a kitty cat on their name. I don't have a husband, so why do they have to ask my parents, my dad, sorry, if I'm allowed to have a hysterectomy? I'm ill, I'm sick. Of course my dad has said yes, but why does it have to be a male decision? It's my body, I should have autonomy over my body. And then I saw the comment saying that it's not uncommon for the person, the gynecologist dealing with you, that's going to take your uterus away to save your life, to ask permission from the husband. And it's not uncommon that if you are childless in America, they say, but what does your husband think about this? And if the person's single, but what do you think your husband's going to say if you can't give him children? That's what your responsibility is, to give your husband children. You're not going to be able to be married. Now, I've heard them all, I saw them all, and I literally was reading the comments with my mouth agape with shock and absolute horror. So Andrea Yates begged this isn't Andrea, this is Lindsay Clancy, but Andrea Yates, who is the first case that opened my eyes to. I never had to, thankfully. I'm in the UK, so for me it was a case of, yeah, if you don't have a hysterectomy, the chances are you're going to have a second pulmonary, well, you're going to have another pulmonary embolism, and this time it's going to kill you, or you're going to have a stroke, one of the two. And because I didn't display stereotypical characterizations of a pulmonary embolism, because my body was still giving me enough oxygen because I've been suffering from it for so long, my oxygen levels always stayed really good. So I wasn't a characteristic display of a pulmonary embolism, although it did almost kill me. And it was because of my womb. I had one too, but I have 5 kids, so I didn't mind endo. Oh, it's painful. See, I can understand endometriosis pain because my secondary dysmenorrhagia was the pain that I was experiencing was the same pain as what endometriosis pain was, so I can understand your pain. That was the pain that I used to be in was absolutely horrific, having to go up to the hospital. We'll go up to the hospital every couple of months to A&E just to get pain relief was horrific, and the fact that I would be screaming in so much pain that I used to get told to shut up or wait outside. Unless I got the ambulance up and the ambulance gave me a little bit of morphine in an injection, or they would give me some gas and air just to help take the A's off. And yes, you are right. You are correct, Macy. It's your body at the end of the day. Even when you're ill, you can still decide what you want to do. Enough chat. No, I do agree. But in America, the rules are so different, and it doesn't make sense. Why a husband could have such autonomy over, can make decisions over a woman's decisions, like to save her life. So Andrea Yates was a special circumstance. Her husband was like, gut. No, they don't ask the wife when a man goes for a vasectomy. Not in the slightest. Because it's a man's decision. The Andrea Yates case was a special case, special circumstances case, which is why I have not passed judgment on the Lindsay Clancy case yet. I'm waiting for the trial. And it is a misogynistic law. I agree. So the opening statements are due to begin tomorrow, Monday the 27th of July 2026. It's a highly publicised triple murder trial of Lindsay Clancy in the Plymouth Superior Court in Massachusetts. Clancy, a 35-year-old former labour and delivery nurse from Duxbury, has pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder in the 24th of January 2023 strangling deaths of her 3 children, Cora 5, Dawson 3, and Callan 8 months. Now, I remember when this case first broke, it reminded me immediately. Yes, her husband has already remarried and has a new child. He moved on fast. They don't get periods. They don't understand what you're going through. I know some states won't give birth control. Because if they make decisions about hysterectomies and sterilizations, they probably do about most things. That's quite funny. I've always finished that cigarette and the substances thing, and like, yeah, he's got another child as well, which to me is insane. Now the preliminary trial was last week, and this was when decisions were being made in what evidence would be under gag order. Now I know I have heard part of, yes, he did move on quickly, Allah. I have heard part of the 911 call. I am trying my damnedest to find it in full, because I have heard that it's out there. However, his screams on that small fragment of the 911 call It's horrific, it's horrible when he's pleading for help because, well, at this point didn't know that his kids were dead in the basement, but had found his wife in quite a critical condition when she had tried to commit suicide. Now, I know that no, they won't do. It's under a gag order. I can write it, but I'm terrible at I'm terrible at saying it, so I apologise. So, Jackie, you're right. It was decided on Friday that the 911 call will be under a gag order, so the jury and anybody in the courtroom will be allowed to hear it. But like I said, there is already parts out there that is there, and I will find that 911 call, or at least what I can find of it, and I will, when I get my hands on it, I will play it. I won't be live every single day next week, but I have to cover some of this in general because I've followed this case from the word go. I know that there is evidence to suggest that she planned him to go and get them food, had called him while he was there, said that he needed to get something from the pharmacy because she had Googled to find out how long it would take for him to pick up the things and come back. When he arrived back, he saw his wife, who had jumped out of a window to try and commit suicide, but she was still alive. And she was obviously screaming in agony. During a 911 call, what I said, and you can hear, it cuts off when you start to hear him scream. And it was a shrill, horrible scream that I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that sound ever. Because potentially, yeah, Georgia to have been as well. Like it's a horrible case. But I did mention the Andrea Yates case because obviously there has been an evidence of, you know, postpartum psychosis, which turned into postpartum rage, all because of her husband not allowing her to do. Oh, thank you, Macy. You don't have to say that. For this now, the trial over review and jury selection. The jury selection was tough. No, it's not me. That woman is Lindsay Clancy, and the triple murder trial of her killing her children starts tomorrow. So the opening statements or opening arguments will begin tomorrow. There was a jury selection which actually lasted all last week. Well, till Thursday. Friday was the decision on what evidentiary would be shown to the public and what would be retained to the court only. So when this is getting televised, when the 911 call is on, it'll go silent, it'll be redacted, and nobody will hear what's being said. The autopsy and some of the crime scene pictures are to be shielded from, as it's under a gag order as well, to the public, so they'll not see a lot. We'll not see a lot. This is to prevent more. Well, this is to prevent it to being completely out there in the public. And just an FYI, this will include any FOIAs that anybody decides to do for this case as well. They are under a gag order. When they stay under a gag order, it won't actually get released in a FOIA request. That's a Freedom of Information Act documentation that some people will pay to gain access to. But the 911 call will be heavily redacted, as will any of the autopsy findings of the children. That will also be heavily redacted. So even if you think that, oh, it's okay, I'll just do a FOIA for this case, you won't get the access. Oh, well, there's a few coming up, Lee. So we do have the Lindsay Clancy trial that starts tomorrow. I'll be talking about it next, but there is obviously going through the preliminary hearing, which started on the 21st and won't conclude until tomorrow now, for the singer David Anthony Burke, who's accused of killing Celeste Rivas Hernandez. So that is going to, but I don't want to get too much into that because that's my next point of conversation. The Keefe D trial is due to start. Or is that September now? That keeps getting moved. Every time that's about to start, it keeps getting moved. So that's over the Tupac murder, which of course I'll be covering. The Sarah Grace Patrick trial, who's accused of killing her mother and her stepfather, that's due to start this summer. Obviously there'll be I believe that the Luigi Mangione case should be starting soon. And the Tyler Robinson one as well. I don't know when that's going to start for the trial, but obviously for the preliminary for that. I'm trying to stay away from some of the more highly politically motivated ones because, you know, these are sensitive subjects and it can cause a lot of hatred and comments and stuff. I'll probably just do the same as what I did when Charlie Kirk was murdered, and that's put out a quick video of it in regards to the outcome of whatever trial that will be. So there's a few. Well, I do feel like that I'm following a lot, but they're the ones off the top of my head that I can actually think of. The Bibb County trial starts soon. I'm not sure what that is. Can you message me? Sorry, probably the one I just mentioned. Can you message me just directly after this, Lee? Just with that, because I know that some people like me covering different things rather than just the ones that I'm obviously putting out to you as well. Now, thank you. Now, a panel of 18 jurors, and that's quite a lot in America. In Scotland, it's not. When I sat on a jury, it was a jury of 15. But on this one, so the jury composition, a panel of 18 jurors, which are 12 women and 6 men, was seated last week. And this was formally seated on Thursday. They made a decision about who was going to sit on the jury. And there was a lot of switching around as well. There was people that didn't want anything to do with this case. And when they'd done the jury questions, they made a decision that they didn't want involvement. Because initially on Thursday, they were just looking for 1 more. Then 2 pulled out. Then had to find 3. Only 12 will deliberate. So obviously there is 6, alternates, which again is a lot. Now this was obviously these were all seated after extensive questioning regarding personal experiences with mental health, postpartum depression and bipolar disorder. And like I said, only 12 will deliberate. The trial is anticipated to last between 6 and 8 weeks, so it's a long trial. And the current status of Lindsay Clancy is, after killing her children, Clancy slit her wrists and neck, then jumped from a 20-foot second-story window in a suicide attempt. The fall left her permanently paralysed from the waist down, and she does attend court in a wheelchair and is currently held in the state psychiatric facility. The legal arguments surrounding this case. So this is when it gets down to the argument, and I'm going into this trial as unbiased as I possibly can, because I can't make my mind up if this was postpartum psychosis and postpartum rage, or if it was something else. So on a personal level, I can't make a decision. And I know that many are like this too, although I do know that she had been taking a multitude of different medications for postpartum psychosis and bipolar. She had been hospitalised, and she'd only been out of the hospital 10 days prior to this. And this is based on memory, so I may have the dates, just the timeline just a little bit off. So the core factors of the death are not disputed. The trial instead centres on an insanity defence focused on criminal responsibility and severe mental illness. Yes, Georgie, if it was a case of the fact that she was released too quickly, but it was reason to believe that her insurance did not actually cover the elongated stays in the hospital, even though she had been begging for help. So it might not actually be the doctor's fault. It could actually be the insurance fault, to be fair. I hate this whole medical insurance thing. If I was in America, I would have been dead years ago, and I'm not even lying. Or either that, I would be so far in debt that I would have had no way to get out of it. So this is the not enough protection for her or the children. Yep, that's absolutely fine. The live's quite calm tonight, actually, to be fair, probably because I've been talking about different things, and I was on so early as well. So I'll see you when you get back, Adele. Now, the position of the defence and their core argument is Clancy is not criminally responsible due to involuntary insanity driven by severe postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. Yes, it does come down to money in America, Lala. I completely agree. Now, the key evidence and claims: she experienced extreme insomnia, panic, and auditory hallucinations commanding harm. She was prescribed 13 different medications, including Prozac, Seroquel, Klonopin, over 4 months with minimal oversight, and she had actively sought help via emergency rooms, crisis hotlines, and inpatient psychiatric care. The prosecution's position and their core argument is Clancy intentionally planned and executed the murders, demonstrating deliberate premeditation and clear thinking. Their key evidence and claims are: she methodically sent her husband out to pick up medicine and takeout from a distant restaurant to ensure adequate time alone. Internet search histories revealed she searched for ways to kill. Welcome back, Adele. Immediately prior to the incident, and the horrific message used was, thank you, Lee, I will get to it after the live, I promise. The horrific message used: strangulation via exercise resistant bands, shows deliberate effort. As a woman and a murderer, I can't help but feel she may have been psychotic, because why? Yes, that's true, but I'm trying not to pass judgment on this. This is there's no winners in this case at all. And the reason that I spoke about Andrea Yates to start with, when I brought her up, when I brought the picture of Lindsay Clancy up, was purely because you can see similarities between this. Although Andrea Yates' husband was told never to leave her alone, when he left that house that morning, he knew his mother wasn't going to be turning up for a while. And she pleaded for help for the 911 calls. They were discarded until it was too late. And there was proof in that. I have every documentary on the Andrea Yates case is primarily from the husband's perspective. There is a content creator on the app on this app, and he's on YouTube as well, and he's on Instagram. He's probably on Facebook, to be fair, called Casey Lytle. He wrote a book and he teaches psychology at a university in America, and he also wrote a book. And in this book, he actually did outline the Andrea Yates case, and I appreciated Casey's insight on it, because it wasn't written as, or it wasn't documented from the husband's point of view. It was documented as a psychoanalysis into what her mind would have been doing at the time. If you haven't heard of Casey Lytle before, please do check him out. His name is spelled Casey, and Lytle is spelled Lytle. I used to think it was Little until I was corrected by him directly. Casey had actually helped me back when I was covering the Gabriel Hernandez case, in regards to the perhaps psychology behind what had obviously happened, and I appreciated his insight on this. I'm a long time follower, a long time fan, and I bought his book. Although I didn't tell him until afterward, until after I got his help, that I'd bought his book. And also when I covered the Arthur Seat murder, it was suggested from another creator that I used to be really good friends with to cover what I thought the psychology behind the murder was. Now, I know that some people disagreed with what I said. However, from Casey's perspective, I was spot on. And he's my only commenter on that YouTube video. I don't know if he found it. I don't know if he was sent it from another creator on the app who had suggested that I worked with Casey in regards to the potential psychology behind it, but I decided, because it was in Edinburgh, I decided that I was going to put my suggestion of what it could be forward, because obviously it was upon the conclusion of this. Some people agreed, some people very much disagreed, and I fear that in a way I may have annoyed some of the Muslim community, that when obviously I gave my opinion on it, and it was merely opinion, it wasn't fact. And I made sure I put a disclaimer in that I don't have a psychology degree, I just talk on true crime. And it just so happened that that one had gone forward. But surely these husbands would have known the depths of their wife's mental state. Well, her husband must have, Patrick Clancy must have, no matter what, known what her mental state was when she was trying to get help considerably. Andrea Yates' husband had banned her from taking any medication to help her. Said that she did not need this. And at first she wanted what a big family, but he held that over her head, because she said it to him maybe a couple of times. And he knew better than what, Andrea Yates' husband knew better than what the doctors were telling him. So, and he chose to leave Andrea alone. I don't blame Patrick directly. He, as much as he has remarried and has another child, he is part of the defence as a part of the prosecution. He feels that Lindsay is just as much of a victim in amongst this as well. Now, maybe he's pushing the blame more on the fact that their insurance wouldn't cover the additional help that she needed, and also the variable amount of medication that she was on, like 13 prescribed medications. That's a lot of medications to give to somebody without proper analysis and without a constant review as to how that's treating them. Like, I'm on, once I get switched from ADHD meds, obviously I'll have a lot more meetings with the doctor and psychiatrist and stuff. But at the moment, I'm on an antidepressant to help me sleep, and to try and calm my brain. And I get monthly reviews. And if I've not checked in, in a month after I've had a previous review. I get a message to say that I need to get in contact with the doctor. Now that's in the UK. Allegedly, that both of them have lawsuits against the doctors for wrongful death for the kid. And you know what? I totally agree with it, to be fair. It's a difficult one. There's nothing there. Like, I can hear where the prosecution is coming from because of her Google searches, because she allegedly searched, and we will find out more during the trial, and because she allegedly searched how long it would take him to get back, that she phoned him to change her mind about some food or something. We are so lucky we get healthcare free here. Yes, we pay for it through our income tax that does come out. I'm very, like, I wish I got free dental care or I wish I never had a cowboy dentist way back in the day, but that's beside the point. But we are very lucky, and up here in Scotland I don't pay for my prescriptions as well, and I'm very lucky with that. And you know, yes, I'm on a waiting list, a bit longer than what I was anticipating for ADHD medication, but then these things, that just happens. That's just one of those things. We can't really do anything if it's waiting list to for X, Y, and Z because there's a shortage of the medication. So even though part of me goes, I'm feeling a bit good. Same in Northern Ireland. Yeah, it's also the same in Wales, so it kind of makes me feel sorry for those in England that have to still pay for their medication. I mean, I'd be perpetually skint if I lived in England. I know I was when we used to have to pay for prescriptions. Maybe sometimes I would get a script and it would be well over £100 just for covering everything that I was getting at the time. Obviously I'm not on anywhere near as many medications but I used to be, but obviously back then it was, back when we had to pay for it, it was significant and really high. And yeah, but even then the medications that I'm on, it would still be a significant amount of money. I'd probably have to make sure I'd be put on all these special things. Now we have the key witness, the key evidence and witness information in regards to this as well. And we also have the potential outcome in regards to this if found guilty or if not. So the first witness to this case will be Patrick Clancy, Lindsay's ex-husband, and it's expected to be the first witness to be called to the stand. He has publicly forgiven Lindsay, filed a civil malpractice lawsuit against her medical practitioners. You mentioned that, Jackie. And requested privacy regarding the evidence, and that's a 911 call and obviously the autopsy and some of the crime scene pictures. The evidence restrictions, Judge William F. Sullivan ruled that the heroin emergency call placed by Patrick as well as the children's autopsy photos may be presented to the jury but are strictly barred from public or media distribution to protect the family from further harm. The potential outcomes of this. If found guilty of first-degree murder, Clancy faces life in prison without parole. If found not criminally responsible by reason of insanity, she will not be released. Instead, she will be committed to a state psychiatric hospital indefinitely with periodic safety reviews. Now, this could mean that she would have the ability to be free. Much like there has been multiple times that there's been parole hearings for, although she's in state hospital, for Andrea Yates. And I do bring this case up often because there is parallels with in this. I never even knew we paid. Checked it was last year or two at high school, so I never knew I had to pay. Well, I was a grown-ass adult, so I was, you know, we did have to pay sometimes. It was horrible. Especially the fact that that day that I paid over £100 for my prescriptions, I wanted to cry. That was basically my week. That was a lot. That was a big, massive, significant chunk of my week's wage. And then it meant that afterwards, I probably waited until I got free meds when they changed prescription rules. I didn't understand I'm terrible. And I now know that's because I've got ADHD and autism, and the chance of me sitting down at the time to fill in forms to get help with prescriptions. But so I just only ever went to the doctor when it was desperate, when it was a desperate reason that I had to go to the doctor. I had no choice. I was really ill, and then eventually we didn't have to pay for any prescriptions, and it was so much the relief, like, oh, honestly, it was horrible. But in Mirangels in England, they still pay. Although there is that thing where they pay a certain, there people that have got long-term illnesses, they only have to pay a specific amount per year to get their prescription. Same as you, Tara, wasn't it horrible when we had to pay? It was terrible. So you only ever went and desperate, but like. I understand both points. I understand the defense, where the defense is coming from. In this case, I understand where prosecution is coming from. This place, it did sound a lot more planned than Andrea Yates. But why she would do it if it wasn't postpartum psychosis? There's no explanation or reason behind why she would do it in the first place. So, but again, I'm trying to be. Not saying anything, not passing judgment. People are entitled to make their own judgment on this. Any judgment you do have on this, it's not wrong. If you believe that she is 100% guilty, that she planned this, that there's reason to believe that it wasn't caused by mental health, you're not wrong. Just people that believe that this was all because of her mental health and the postpartum psychosis and the bipolar, etc. You're not wrong for that opinion either, because this case, no matter the outcome, there's no winners here. No winners at all. There's 3 children, her children, that are dead. Her ex-husband has publicly forgiven her, doesn't feel that she was in the wrong at all. Yes, he's divorced her and moved on, probably because he probably got, he's moved on. He can't be with her because what she did, and I understand that. And do I think that he's moved on a little bit quickly? That's in my opinion, yes. But everyone deals with things in their own way, and he's now got a brand new family, but he is still standing by his ex-wife. So you kind of feel a little bit more pulled to, well, I do, I get a bit more pulled to it being because of postpartum psychosis. But the postpartum, wait, I did something recently. Where's my Facebook? I've got a Facebook group, and I pop a lot of random stuff into that, so I apologise. I just need to search for something. I should have had this ready. Was it this one? Nope. Nope. Can you tell that I've got tabs? I use all sorts of different websites for all sorts of different things. Bit too obvious there. There we go. Because obviously I've been discussing things, and it was something that was taken off the table, and I was going to go into what I posted. How did I find that again? I'm terrible at this, eh? I always say that. No, it's not files, it'd be the media. Here we go. Okay, so on the 16th of July, so that was 10 days ago, I posted this. And this is why I'm saying that nobody's judgment in regards to this case is wrong, because everyone's going to have different judgment for this. One of the biggest questions leading into the Lindsay Clancy trial has now been answered. During the final pre-trial conference, the judge ruled that the defence cannot call women who have personally experienced postpartum psychosis to testify. I believe she was testing it unless she wasn't under any psychosis at the time of the death. But how do you properly test for psychosis? Just cute. No, I'm not taking away from that in the slightest. So defense cannot call women. Yes, I am still on. I'm going to be quick. Sorry, I shouldn't have really put you on the spot like that, but I'm also going to be talking about the Indepth case after this. So I'm just going to quickly run through this bit. And obviously, you'll know, and you'll now, one of the biggest questions leading into the Lindsay trial has now been answered. During the final pre-trial conference, the judge ruled that the defence cannot call women who have personally suffered postpartum psychosis to testify. Prosecutors argued that allowing unrelated individuals to share their own experiences would shift the focus away from the evidence in the Clancy's case and create what the court described as trial within a trial. Here are the major developments. So the key ruling. Court denied the defence's request to present testimony from mothers who experienced postpartum psychosis but had no connection to the case. The defence strategy. Clancy's legal team plans to argue that she was not criminally responsible at the time of the 2023 killings, claiming she was suffering from severe undiagnosed postpartum psychosis and the effects of multiple medications. The courtroom update. Although there had been discussions about Clancy stepping out during the graduate testimony, her attorney now says that she intends to remain in the courtroom for the entire trial, including every witness and every piece of evidence. I don't know who said something, but it's saying that some comments in the live were filtered to protect the community's experience. So if you have put a comment after Jackie's, I can't answer that. Reword it and try and post it again, because TikTok says no. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm ignoring them. Obviously, we know about the jury. And obviously we fully know that Clancy is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and the deaths of 3 young children in Duxbury, Massachusetts. This case is expected to centre on one of the most closely watched legal questions in recent years, whether Clancy was legally responsible for her actions or suffering from a mental condition that meets the legal standard for a lack of criminal responsibility. Now, and I'm going to repeat what I said. If you think she's responsible and that she wasn't mentally irresponsible for what she'd done, because ultimately she did, no matter what, kill her children. She strangled them to death. You are not wrong, because that's your opinion and you very much have every right to make that opinion. This is now up to a jury. There are 12 who will deliberate, but there are 18 in total, as 6 of them are alternates. I am not going to lead you in how you should think in regards to this. All I'm merely going to say is how I can see it mirrors another case where a mother was proven to have been suffering from significant postpartum psychosis, where she was deemed as not being safe around her children, and the one time that she was left with her children, she drowned them. But this doesn't mean it's the same in her case, of course. So I am not going to, if you have a difference of opinion, or if you have the opinion that she was mentally capable of formulating her own thoughts and her thought process to kill her 3 children in a premeditated, motivated attack, I'm not going to judge you in the slightest. If you feel it's postpartum psychosis, again, I am not going to judge you in the slightest, because you as a person have a right to make that decision yourself. I do, however, disagree with putting up a picture of Chad Dorman and Lindsay side by side. Lindsay had 3 Andrea Yates had 5. I do disagree with, yeah, Andrea Yates was 5, I was right. I do disagree with putting up a picture of Chad Dorman and Lindsay side by side and asking what the difference in this was. The difference of Chad Dorman was he wanted to hurt. So Andrea Yates drowned all her children and put them on a bed altogether after. And the eldest, I do believe, was the hardest of them all to kill, if memory serves me correctly. The Andrea Yates case, I will cover that at some point. It's a difficult case and there's a lot of difference of opinions in regards to this. But she will, yeah, she was proven that it was diminished responsibility in regards to that. And even though she has been eligible for parole a multitude, like multiple of different times, Andrea Yates has always said she'll never work for you again. Yes, offered it twice. And she's refused it. Lindsay Clancy is not the same as Chad Dorman. Chad Dorman killed his 3 boys and left his stepdaughter alive just because he wanted to hurt the mother. Now, there may be some people that disagree with that, but I believe that, and I believed that at the time. And when I'm seeing this, the Chad Dorman case and the Lindsay Clancy case side by side, I very much disagree. Chad Dorman was a cold-hearted killer who killed to hurt his wife because she was going to leave him. Lindsay Clancy has been medically proven that there was something wrong, but the question is, was she responsible for her actions or was she not? Was she not of sound mind? That's the question. And if you just don't compare them to the Chad Dorman case, because that's obviously, well, unalive and his wife won't make her stay. That's true, but he just did it to her. And she took away what was theirs as opposed to what was hers as well, and that was her daughter. But no, like, and it's the only thing that I will say is I won't have any comparisons between the two because I don't think that's fair. And I think as people we can kind of understand why I'm being like this. Now, before I am done for this evening, there was one more case I did want to discuss, and I had this ready to go. There we go. And I think most of you will know it straight away. I'm not putting a picture of him up above me. I'm putting a picture of Celeste above me because the case is centered around Celeste. Since the 21st of July, there has been a pre-trial for disgraced singer David Anthony Burke, who is accused of killing 14-year-old Celeste when he was 21 and killing her because she was going to out their relationship. He cut her up. Her head and torso was in a cadaver bag or a body bag, which he purchased from Amazon. And her legs and arms were found in a blue trash bag below her. Celeste was unrecognisable when she was found. Thank you so much, Sarah. Was unrecognisable when she was found. She had bled to death. It is believed that she bled to death. Thank you so much for the heart me, little nanny scouse. In a pool that he also purchased from Amazon. It wasn't the chainsaws that were purchased from Amazon that did this. No. There was a third chainsaw. Thank you so much for the bear. That is adorable. Thank you. There's a third chainsaw that's not been found. I have his shopping list. I have all the pictures from the court, from what's been shown. It was just sketches, of course. It has been proven through the text messages that Celeste had an abortion. And the child was David's. In fact, she even told him that the abortion didn't work. She didn't think the abortion had worked. And he was talking about buying her an abortion gift. It's the text messages. And then she was 13 when she had the abortion. I just thought it was an FYI. Yes, he is. 100%. He's a paedophile. An abortion gift. An abortion gift. Don't know what an abortion gift would be. But that's sick. His mother was fully aware of the sexual relationship, as one of the text messages stated. We heard all this last week. My mum wants to know if the baby's mine, and she confirmed that the baby was. There is, allegedly, his mum knew, yes. She was 11 when they got talking. And those people that argue, oh, but he was only 16 when they got talking then. You're sick. An 11-year-old and a 16-year-old have got absolutely jack shit in common. In their life, and Bob's wanted in my room, so I apologise if you heard the cat meowing. An 11-year-old and a 16-year-old are in two completely separate parts in their life. An 11-year-old has probably not even hit puberty. But a 16-year-old has gone through a significant amount of the puberty that they're going to be going through. 16 and 11. See, in the UK, right now, in the UK, if a 16-year-old got with an 11-year-old and had sex with an 11-year-old, they would automatically go to jail. Automatically go to jail. And it wouldn't be statutory rape, because statutory rape is only a couple of years younger, not 5. People defending him and saying that, oh, but they got together when he was 16, he wasn't an adult. Exactly. Thank you, Mirangels. One's in primary and the other can leave high school. That's in the UK. See, when I was 16, I left school. I'd finished 5th year. I left school and I started an apprenticeship job. From the ages of 15 to 16, I had a part-time sales assistant job and I had a certificate to say that. Thank you so much for the heart me, Jan. And I had a little certificate to say that I could work for some sort of pharmaceuticals. Hi, Jan. I hope you're well. But at the age of 16, I had done my 5th year. I'd completed my 5th year exams. I got a full-time job, actually, to be fair. I got 3 job offers and a college placement offer, all at the age of 16, and I took an apprenticeship and a job that I ended up being with the same company for 15 years for. No, 12 years for, sorry. And the other few years was out with that. But I started a career at that age. I was seen as an adult. I could, like, there was a lot I could do that I certainly would not have been able to do when I was 11. When I was 11, I was actually still in primary school. I started high school this summer. turned 11 in high school, actually. So if you want to go down that route of, oh, but he was 16 when they got together, look at it from my perspective, when I was seen as a full-ass adult, when I was out in the big bad world, when I was in a full-time employment, when I could have legally got a house, given a flat of my own at the age of 16 and lived on my own. And if I was associated, if I was with a child, I would have been, well, I probably would have been gypped. Quite frankly. David Anthony, yes, exactly, in Scotland, you're an adult from the age of 16. David Anthony Burke is a paedophile. End of. There is proof that they had a sexual relationship. She was 13, at least 13 when she had one of the abortions. There might have been two. She was a fucking child. He murdered her when he was 21. And she was 14. There's no, oh, but they'd been together for so long argument there. Not at all. He knew she was of that age. The police turned up at his fucking door to say that Celeste was classed as a missing girl and didn't know where she was, and he showed a yearbook picture of her and said she was 18 when it was pretty damn obvious that she was a child. You would have had to have been blind to not realise that she was a child. And his friends knew. And that's all come out, and that's all the proof is all there. And we don't need to even this is out with the murder. Out with the murder. This is merely the fact that no matter what, anybody defending him, anyone's still buying his music, because I know that Spotify is still releasing his music. I know there's been a song that's been released recently that's something that got really good, really quite quickly pulled from being able to be purchased. That was recently, actually last week, just before the preliminary. A song was magically released on Spotify, clearly for its team, because David Anthony Burke still thinks that people are going to buy his music. That he's still going to be able to make money even from the jail cell. Oh, actually, or maybe he thinks that he's going to be found innocent of everything, even though he's cooked. I hate to use that, but he is cooked. There is no walking away from what he has done, ever. There is proof that he bought the third chainsaw under a different alias, but that chainsaw's not been found. It's going to be worse than Gary Glitter. Like, I'm angry smoking now, but I need to calm myself down because I realised I was getting really quite pent up with anger there, because I genuinely thought until last week, I genuinely thought those people that were defending him after they heard his fucking charges, that they had changed their mind. That they had went, no, I actually genuinely thought there was no defending that. And now when I'm seeing the defending of this, and that he never done it, and that he's no chomo. We'll call him a chomo because that doesn't get picked up as much as what the other word what it does. He claims that the people claiming that he's innocent and that he done nothing wrong. Yeah, PDF file. He is. This pre-trial was supposed to be over, by the way. And it was his defence team that were dragging this preliminary. They believed there wasn't enough evidence of probable cause. Well, there's 40 odd terabytes of evidence. He is a bar steward. Yes, you're right. 100%. He's a see you next Tuesday. Actually, see you next Tuesdays are useful. He's not. He's a sick, disgusting predator who killed to shut her up. And you know what? He made a mistake. His mistake was that he kept all the pictures of her and him together. He kept the videos of her and him together. Hi Claire, sorry, I'm totally ranting. Probably all the same as mates. It's sick to defend it when in the first place. Exactly. One of his friends sent him a message with the picture of the missing person post for Celeste. You know, the poster that was about when she was a missing person. And said, hang on, isn't this Celeste? He responded back saying, oh, no, it's no. Because he knew in that picture she was only 14. That missing pictures post, it was she was only 14 and he was claiming that she was 18. Like, Neo, his bestie, has thrown him under the bus. There's been multiple grand juries for this. They said 5 in total. His parents didn't want to attend one of the grand juries because they knew there was pictures of Celeste and David with his parents. They went to London. Now, at first, I thought this was London, Texas. Because I was like, oh, surely they wouldn't have been able to get into international waters. Oh, no, it wasn't London, Texas at all. It was London, UK. He brought a minor with, I do believe, forged letters to get her to the UK so he could keep tabs on her. Make sure she wasn't talking. I see the post where people are blaming her parents. Now, her parents had been really quiet. And I had a bit of a, why are they being so quiet? And then, but they, all on a Thursday, Celeste's parents stayed and watched, saw every single bit of what was going on. I'll get to that, Sarah. Friday, she couldn't stay in the courtroom when they were discussing specifics. She sobbed and almost fainted when she saw the autopsy, well, when she saw the pictures of Celeste go up, how she was found, how she was unrecognisable, how she was covered in insects. How there had been skin slippage from her skull where they couldn't immediately determine who this person was. Do you know what David did? David, who was, even if they were just friends, which they really weren't, or the person that he was supposed to love, don't care if you're into gore or not. Thank you for the follow, Sarah. I had a conversation with my partner Chris about this. And because I followed it every single day, I watched all the recaps because no media is allowed in, and I totally understand why. This is a minor. And obviously they're certainly not going to want the media to be able to see the images, which is being classed as CSAM. She, like, I've watched it after I've had it all broken down, and I says to Chris, like, we love horror movies. Absolutely adore horror movies. Love the Terrifier franchise, and that's as gory can be, right? Pretty much it is. If anyone's seen Terrifier movies, you'll know how gory they are. And I love these movies. Art the Clown is one of my new horror favourite horror characters. But if I saw, and I was in a courtroom, and I saw pictures of somebody that I supposed to have loved, cared for, who was either a friend, yeah, I see that to be fair, a lot of people don't like gore. A lot of people hate gore. Adele, there's so many people that don't do clowns. Sarah, I understand you about the horror. Jump scares can be a bit boring sometimes for me. Tara, love the fact that you're a horror fan too. But like, if I saw somebody on a screen who I was supposed to have loved, there is no way that I would be able to sit and watch that screen. Ever. Allegedly, from all the reports, so everyone that got in, everyone that was covering this said the exact same thing. He sat and stared at the pictures like it was absolutely nothing. Like it was just another picture. But he stared at every single one. He took every single thing in. And AI's almost got it right, actually. They called him Barker rather than Burke, but like I said, I'm over 18. My account's over 18, so this isn't for children's. This is not for children's ears. So, but my settings are over 18, and that includes all my lives. I've double checked that. Even when I thought that wasn't, I freaked out when I forgot about checking the settings one day when I was live and was talking about this case before, and then I was really careful with what I was saying until I realised that when I double checked my settings, because my account's over 18, my lives are over 18 naturally. Now, tomorrow is going to be the last day of the preliminary. I don't know how many more shocks I can go for. I have with this case because it angers me. The rage that I feel when I talk about this case is the same rage I feel when a parent has killed a child. But it's a fact. He can get a death penalty for this. Even though California don't really do the death penalty very much anymore. And Nathan Hawkman, I worked in the children's ward and some donated a clown picture we kept him. People are petrified of clowns. Just in a generalised thing. Some people are absolutely petrified of them. I think they're funny. Even back in the day when I first watched it, and I think I was in first year, I wasn't supposed to be staying up watching that, but I did. It was on the TV, and people were petrified of clowns after that, and they wouldn't go near drains or shower drains and stuff like that, you know, all the things, because they were, obviously the movie affected them to a degree. But I know a lot of people that are absolutely petrified of clowns. They won't even watch Joker movies because obviously the portrayal of him being a clown. I love horrors, like clowns, love creepy dolls as well. I've actually got a mini Art the Clown. Actually, I'll not bring it over because people have said they're afraid of clowns, so I'm not going to bring it over. I've got a wee pop figure of Art the Clown, actually, and I've got, it was a gift from Chris of a, thank you for the follow, of a picture from it's a movie still from the first Terrifier movie, and it's when he's in the cafe and he's going like this, and like that. So for me, I adore them, and Mass I adore as well. Like, can you see any if I do this? No, wait, I'm just going to very slightly, apart from the Tartan Army, but obviously you can clearly see I love my mask and stuff. I love Halloween and all that jazz, and yes, there's a lot of The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I was being careful because I know that I didn't want to trigger anybody, so I apologise. But David was able to just sit and see the gory, gruesome pictures. I need to get a Santa Claus, to be fair, because Santa Claus is awesome, and I love Night Before Christmas is one of my favourite movies. Anyway, I'm totally off topic, and I apologise because I'm supposed to be talking about this after, when I go in the cool down after this, because a lot of what I've talked about has been a lot. I can't believe how long I've been live, but I'm going to continue anyway. No, it's absolutely fine. Yes, so Nosy Bar Steward, I'd actually spoke about that to start at the after I spoke about the Berlin incident yesterday. I actually had spoken to locals on Friday, and I've got friends that are were friends with her as well. So I did cover that, but yeah, but the local that I spoke to had suggested that that was probably going to be what would happen, and that's the case ultimately concluded, I suppose, with Vikki Soloman. So yeah, it's not a nice thing as well. And Mirangels, please don't apologise. I don't mind. At the end of the day, I started showing this stuff, and I was just talking on a generalised basis anyway in regards to gore, and like even me and my partner Chris, he even said that he wouldn't be able to see. He was like, but he imagined it was pictures or images of me up on a screen, and he said that he couldn't have been able to sit and watch that without a reaction. He said that it would probably, he would look away or he would be grossed out by it or whatever. So like, that's what I don't understand. Like people are aware of this, but yet they're still defending him and saying that he had nothing to do with it. He clearly, that didn't affect him because he did it. The only way it wouldn't affect somebody is if they actually did it. Her parents couldn't see it. Her parents were sobbing in her poor mum almost fainted. And she couldn't listen to the rest of it. She couldn't listen to a section on Friday and left in tears. But he could sit there and react him. No CSA watch, no justice for Vikki's family. Well, I agree. Also, the way they kind of go, the case is concluded. It seems a bit wrong and a bit of a cop out. I'm sure that once it goes to the inquest, because that's what it will be now, unfortunately, that's when we'll find out exactly what happened. But from what I've heard from the local, like, I've got a rough idea about exactly what the fatal blow was as well. So it's not nice at all. And like I said, I've got friends that were friends with her, and I know that they've been quite significantly affected by all of this as well. I've not seen any posts today from them, but it was literally, I'd planned to be talking about Vikki first, but obviously given what happened in Berlin yesterday, it's why I'd started talking about the Berlin incident. But I did have a moment of going, oh my God. Well, the local was right. And I was very much shocked, completely shocked. Especially as it was meant to be appear in court next week as well. So I do feel for the family, her child, her friends, the community, her work colleagues as well, who have said such shining and amazing things about her as well. So she sounded like an amazing person. But yeah, I do agree, Bar Stewart. It's very much like, it's horrible. It's not a nice situation that's going on with Vikki at all. Now, I'm just going to give you a tiny little bit of background about Celeste Rivas Hernandez for those that are don't know about her. So, the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case involves a high-profile arrest and pre-trial proceedings of a 21-year-old indie pop singer David Anthony Burke, professionally known as David but spelled D4VD. Burke faces multiple severe felony charges, including first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under the age of 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. He's pleaded guilty for all charges, unsurprisingly. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was reported missing by her family and was last seen at the Burke's home on April the 3rd, 2025, when she was 14 years old. On September the 8th, 2025, the day after her 15th birthday, Celeste's dismembered and heavily decomposed remains were discovered inside the front boot, which is the trunk, of an impounded Tesla Model X registered to Burke in Los Angeles. Following the discovery, Burke's worldwide tour was cancelled. He was arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department on April 2026 after a lengthy investigation. I think they did their job, their due diligence, and they also indeed tapped his phone as well, because they would have been allowed to try and get as much evidence against him as possible. The prosecution alleges that, so this is the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office led by Nathan Hochman, alleges that Burke groomed Celeste online when she was 11, began sexually abusing her when she was 13 and he was 18, and ultimately killed her on or about April 23rd, 2025. According to prosecutors, Celeste threatened to expose their illegal relationship and destroy his highly lucrative music career, famous for his TikTok hits like Romantic Homicide, prompting Burke to stab her and let her bleed to death before dismembering her body. Special circumstances filed against Burke include murder of a witness, lying in wait, and murder for financial gain, making him eligible for the death penalty, and I hope he gets it. Now, a days-long preliminary hearing took place in late July 2026, which I did say that started on the 21st and will be concluded tomorrow, to determine if there is sufficient evidence to send Burke to a full criminal trial. Shocking forensic evidence and digital data were presented. Text messages retrieved from Burke's phone revealed that Celeste became pregnant by Burke and had at least one abortion when she was 13. In one text, Burke explicitly wrote, "Let this abortion be the last one until we have the real one," as in the real child. He explicitly said to Celeste that he did not want to go public with their relationship until they were married. So in other words, he wanted her to stay fucking quiet until she was old enough. He wanted to keep her as his dirty little secret. Yes, there is some sick bastards on this planet. I 100% agree. An LAPD testified that Burke's iCloud storage contained significant amount of child pornography and sexually explicit photographs documenting sexual acts between himself and the underage victim. A police DNA specialist confirmed that bloodstains found extensively across Burke's Hollywood Hills home and garage matched Celeste's DNA. The deputy medical examiner testified that Celeste died of homicide from multiple stab wounds, one of which punctured her chest and damaged her ribs. Her arms, legs, and 2 fingers, one bearing the tattoo of the name David, had been severed with a power tool. Sloan just put up. Yeah, I was just saying that, like, she knew all about it, and the fact that there was a text message between Celeste. There was a text message that David sent to Celeste saying, "Mum wants to know if it's mine," as in discussing the baby. So she 100% knew, and they're no, it's absolutely fine. You look after your mum. You're absolutely fine. Yes, he did have a burn cage. I can show you some of the things that he had on. I've got so much pictures. I started my own notepad document on this so that I could make sure that I kept all the pictures that were coming out, including all the sketches. I've got what the burn cage looked like. That was to get rid of evidence. But it wouldn't have got rid of a body. That was what somebody had said, but that's normally used as farm equipment, and it is horrible. Now, sorry, so I'll just go back to what I'd initially started because I knew where I was. So the deputy medical examiner testified that Celeste died of homicide from multiple stab wounds. She was a baby, so sad, young. So I was like, yes, all because he didn't want his secret to be outed. And I'm gonna say something near the end talking about this before have the wee chill out bit and just talk about movies and stuff. One of which punctured her chest and damaged her ribs, her arms, legs and 2 fingers, one bearing the name of David, and that was on her ring finger because the was in a different one because he had the matching one. He also has a tattoo on his hand that reads Celeste. Had been severed with a power tool. Due to the severe composition, her recovered remains only weighed 71 pounds. And her finger has not been found. Investigators mapped Burke's movement through historical cell phone tower logs, location data automatically recorded by his Tesla. The pre-trial preliminary hearing wrapped up its 4th day of testimony on Friday. The judge is expected to resume the hearing on Monday to officially rule whether the prosecution has established enough probable cause to advance the case to a formal criminal trial. Now, Sloan has also done... Is it Sloan or is it somebody else? No, it's not Sloan, it's somebody else. If I could... Wait, it should be under one of the ones that I was watching on my YouTube, because I'm quite happy to send people along to different people's accounts, just because there was only 10 people that were able to get in. Please still be sitting down on my laptop. Yes. His name is Trapmore Ross. Incidentally, one of the things that comes up, and it's his thumbnail saying, I'm sending you 10, but this is, okay. So she said, I'm sending you 10 bands, his message back, because we smashed 10 times with eyes. It was 6 actually, laughing emoji. Can't believe we made 15 sex tapes. Do you think it was a sacrifice for his music career and something went wrong? So, Pauline, from what was said, they had been arguing the day that he sent the Uber for her to pick her up from her parents' home to take her to his home. They had been arguing all day. She threatened to expose their relationship, and it was being alluded that there may have been another girl involved at that time. I think she was his muse. Most of the songs sound like he's singing to her, but he wanted to keep their relationship quiet because she was significantly underage. He knew if this came out about her age, it would ruin him. He had signed a multi-million deal with Interscope Records, and he was going to continue to make more money on the tour. It is believed that at one point they split up, got back together more than once, and she threatened to expose all. He couldn't have this happen, so he killed her. And even though she would have been murdered at the time when the Uber dropped her off, because he was waiting for her, and it's believed that the stabbing had happened really quite quickly. At 10:30, he sent Celeste mobile a text message saying, "Are you on your way?" Georgie is the stupidest person I have ever... As a moron. The man's a moron. He had friends round. And was excusing the smell coming from his home as somebody going for a poo. And then he starts lighting candles and stuff, and there was obviously conversations about the fact that he seemed to have an insect problem because Celeste was in his garage. It's I think he told a lot about it in his music. I do as well. Do you know that there is a... Oh, am I going to be able to find it? David's unreleased tracks in Tesla. I've found it on... there you go. I can always rely on somewhere to have this. I've actually downloaded it onto this, but... So David had an unreleased song called Trapped in a Tesla. Wonder what you would think of me if you saw me this way, but I trapped in a Tesla. Hope you don't hate me cause I know I'm really messed up. Wonder what you would think. So I only found out about this song yesterday. I was initially going to be going live about this yesterday, but I was so tired. I was just like, no, I can't. I'm going to decompress a little bit more, and I'm going to go live about this today. A song about it.
Breaking news, David had an unreleased song called Trap.
Yeah, everything's about the same, basically.
Breaking news,
the same thing. Sorry, it's going to keep playing because it does that, because it's annoying. So there was an unreleased song called that. The interesting thing that he said, and I'm just going to play this again because I want to see if you actually catch this as well. You think of me if you saw me this way, but I trapped in a Tesla. Hope you don't hate me cause I know I'm really messed up. Did you hear that? That I don't know what you would feel if you saw me this way. Then it's trapped in my Tesla. And that I know I really messed up. Thank you, Georgie. I do try. I try and come with as many receipts as I possibly can as well. David is a monster. I hope he gets a death penalty. Even just what I've heard from the preliminary and I will show it briefly. I know that many people have had this live already. So this is a shopping list. Am I going to be able to zoom out a little bit? Excuse the picture, the way it's taken. Of course it was going to be like that. So these are some of the things that we're seeing. So this was the different things. This is how she was found. Oops. Here is how she was pretty much found. So huge trigger warning. As you can see, as you go further down, you've got the bags. The burn cage is right in the middle. You've got the part with the right knee where the blue fragments were found. That's his Tesla. One of the chainsaws that's used, another of the chainsaw used, and another of the chainsaw used. You've also got the cleaning materials that he used as well. And as you can see from the hand, sorry, it's a terrible picture. As you can see from the hand where she's missing the finger. When the abortion talk was thingy, and obviously we can quite clearly see what that is. Pictures of him. When the abortion talk was being discussed, that was the only that was from the courts. So obviously you've always got that court illustrator because this was behind closed doors. No media was allowed. They weren't allowed in with their cameras and stuff. So we only really have court sketches in regards to it. But it is a huge trigger warning. Obviously, you have him. He's old enough to be in that team, but they did cover up things. But his only real reactions when he was doing this sort of reaction was when they actually realised how much evidence they had on him. And there's a part that I thought he looked like he was trying to bite his hand. This was what I was meaning about the tattoo. If you can see, she's got sh, and then she has a picture of, it's not the clearest, but where it's circled in her hand. Oh, that's his hand, sorry, that's his tattoo, obviously, and that's actually his hand, but that's his sh tattoo, which copies hers, and he has a picture of Celeste on his, well, a tattoo of ring. Yeah, there's a, this was the burn cage that he purchased. I hope he gets his death penalty as well. Yes, so Trapmore Ross, I will say, is a really good one. So let's. David certainly does not. Trapmore Ross has been incredible with his coverage on it, and so is Sloan. These two specifically have managed to get into court. There was basically a lottery style system that only 10 people were allowed in because the family and stuff. So Adele, it would appear that he kept her in his garage for a while.
Breaking news, David had an unreleased song.
I'll just close that tab. So I had her in there for a while. There was complaints about a smell in his home. I'm going to have to go hunting for it, but I had the full live stream where obviously Celeste is no longer there. She's dead by this point when this live stream was going on. To get rid of, there's loads of questions about that actually, but what it sounds like, he kept her in the home for quite a considerable amount of time. The appeared that the body bag wasn't quite all zipped up all the way through. He had quite significantly cleaned the pool, and when they unravelled it, they found dryer sheets, you know, the fragrant smelling dryer sheets inside, obviously to mask some sort of smell. In the front, there was also dryer sheet that were in there too, as well as 11 car fragrance things that were popped up around the Tesla. He came back for a short period of time when he was on tour because he moved his car. Never moved it very far, but he did move his car. And then it stayed there for a little bit, looked abandoned, it got towed and impounded. Thank you for the follow, Ronnie. And it was only after it got impounded that was when he said that his car had been stolen. So it was after the impoundment, obviously, to try and make it out. But it is basically all Teslas have internal CCTV, and even if you turn that, thank you so much for the heart, me, and even if you turn that off, there's still a certain amount, I do believe, well, you still got the GPS and all the rest of it as well. So with the fact that he bought like a shovel and stuff, and he had scoped out areas where he had got rid of her phone, her passport and other ID documents. I can't remember exactly where that was, but we found that out when it was it was one of the motions that were done. No, it was just after he had been arrested, obviously. I mean, this has been going on for a while, and it's now July, and she was murdered in April last year, so it is going on for quite some time. I can't see it going to trial. I think he's going to realise the sheer volume of evidence that is against him. And I think this is only a fraction of the evidence that they have from the 40 odd terabytes worth of evidence that they've got against him. I have a feeling that he will plead guilty. Because as everyone knows, if you've covered the Brian Coburn, I don't know what his parents do actually. But I've got a feeling he's going to plead guilty. People were worried at the start of the preliminary trial on the Facebook groups and in the Reddit groups as well, because obviously I follow them all. And people were worried that they were just going to get done. He was just going to get done with the offences against a minor and not the actual murder. And then that all changed on day 2. And everybody was saying, that's good. Yes, anybody that defends him and that anybody that still buys his music needs to have their clouds, need that be iCloud, Amazon, or Google Clouds, searched. They need to be subpoenaed and searched. That's not the correct word, but that's by the by. Their hard drives all need checking, and their phones need a good check as well, maybe a full search of their properties, because I don't understand, after all of this, how anybody could say that it wasn't him. And I questioned whether or not that having all this out there in the public was a good thing to have, because this is, but then I found out that a lot of people in the US don't hear as much what happens as in other countries. So people in his Discord server knew she was a child because she even said her date of birth. Nobody even said anything. Demi, I found out you could actually still get into his Discord, although you can't comment or anything like that. And to be fair, I was struggling to go through it. It's called David's Closet. The general chat in specifics, like, dear David, thank you for the follow, Beth. I had to figure it out. I had to be like, what were they seeing that I couldn't see? What pictures are still there that's not been deleted? Because obviously there's admins have closed it, so you can't actually say anything. Most of them, like, the day that it was released, the body was found, like, the chat was crazy. And numerous times the mods closed off. Now, Pauline, I was going to address this earlier when I actually mentioned this. Now, there's only so much control that parents can have over a child. I don't blame the parents. I did it first, until I found out that she had her phone taken off her, and he paid one of her classmates money to drop a brand new phone to her, so it was hidden. She was a known runaway. They couldn't control her. Now, you can't lock somebody into a room or you're going to get done for child abuse and false imprisonment. And there was times that she went back. And they did. They went to the police to try and get her back so many times. They even sent the police to his address. And Demi, they did. They questioned them. Neo, who was his best friend, I know that he had been subpoenaed to appear in front of the grand jury. Initially, he didn't want to, but he did eventually appear in front of the grand jury. And he has done a full 360 turn and initially was defending them to no. I think it's very easy to be blinded by somebody. If he's good enough to groom a whole ass child, he's good enough to, that sounds, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that he's good at what he does, as in he's good at grooming. So if he's good at grooming, then he's good at manipulating his friends. I said, Demi, I said earlier, that was when she was probably missing. Oh, wasn't it? The question. Yes, that's what I was going to say. So there was a text message between him and one of his female friends where she shared the missing picture thing and saying, "Wait, isn't this Celeste?" I thought, and then something about I thought you said she was 18. And then he makes it out that he's not or something. I need to find that thread again. But no, I find it difficult to go through David's Discord, which I'm surprised it wasn't just like taken down. Yeah, I know there's people that join it all the time. I know obviously there's no notifications that come through, but that welcome thing is always there. But what disturbs me is the fact that the boosters are still on. So people are still boosting the channel. The advertisements are again, and yes, the teacher the teacher didn't know quite of the specifics, but the teacher had tried to put out the warning of online predators and had discussed in his classroom. There was one person in the group chat that actually called them out. I don't know how they would get it. I don't. Money? Did he pay them off? He did have a significant amount. His deal was quite a decent amount, a decent few million. So it could be that he paid them off as well. But yeah, the teacher had obviously said so. The child that one of his pupils had been found dead in Frank, but he obviously mentioned that this girl had been met and had met online predator. He tried to obviously do the dangers of about being online and speaking to specific people that have been groomed, and then she's turned up dead. And he said that he knew that she was groomed because she was one of his pupils, which is bizarre. Literally on the 9th when this broke, it was like it's hours of conversations back and forth, and it's just weird. And even then it was like, hold up, I might be going off topic, but can we all pray for David together? And you're like, that was hours after it had come out. And I don't know who the fuck Ben was, because everybody was changing their name to Ben, and there was this meme going around and stuff, and it was just kind of crazy. When you look at it the 9th, I've tried to get back further, but I get so annoyed by the simping. I'm trying to get back to April. But there's so many people in that Discord. There's been so many. Yes, it did. They had a concert. And do you know, there's a video that's going around. I won't, like, I try not to, like, obviously I heard that Trapped in the Tesla one, and that I shared it because obviously it was significant for this, but I try not to find his songs. Yes, of course, on you go. Thankfully it's quite quiet. Missing, returned, then missing again. Aha! Well, wait. Is that... No, that was still on stage. No, there was a song that he had sung in front of a small audience. And it worked out, it was like days after he killed her. And then he burst into tears at the end. And I remember thinking, people were paying to see somebody wearing a stupid hair bonnet. Like, seriously? Is it that one? Because I know that he's got a name, Celeste. And then somebody was trying to say, people were trying to say that's AI, but I know from Adele, I wish you all the best of luck with your operation. Thank you so much for this evening, and thank you for being here. It's very much appreciated. Adele is awesome. If everybody does want to give her a follow, she covers a lot of missing person cases. I need to keep doing that again. Please do try and follow each other as well, because, you know, it's a community as well as me talking at you. But yeah, like, the best of luck to Adele too. Thank you for the follow, and please do follow each other as well. Like, I would like you to obviously interact, and I want him to plead guilty, but at the same time I don't, because I want to see what else they've got on him. Because once a defendant pleads guilty, a lot of the evidence can be taken off the table. People have been trying to get all the evidence for the Idaho 4 case, for example, but it's costing up to like 20 grand in order to get all of it. So people are now cherry picking what they want, because they reckon that other people will get it and it will all get put together. But then that's like 64 terabytes that the Idaho case is on. The David case is on 40 odd terabytes. That's still a significant amount of evidence against them as well, which is crazy. But I'm literally going up pages and 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 pages, and all of this is about the 9th, when Celeste's body was found. Like, literally, I keep going up with my mouth and going like, take me to something else. And because there's so much on that specific date, it's really difficult to go to a different... I don't want to see newer messages. Like, literally, when if the... I don't know. And the only reason I joined it was out of curiosity to see if I could find anything. And that was... Yes, conniving. I did see that there was a Celeste double. It's okay, I knew what you meant. I don't think you can search it by date. Oh, what's the pinned ones? Oh no. Oh, that's him. One message removed from a suspended account. Actually, this might be an easier way to do it. I'll look for the pin stuff. That was actually a really good shout. Oh, here we go. So I'm currently looking at his Discord from the 11th of February 2025. Oh, thank you as well for being here, and thank you for all you do as well. Honestly, maybe at a later stage, I'm totally going to go through all of this again. But if I don't have a little bit of a decompression and just like my brain, it's going to drive me potty. So, once you go down the rabbit hole, it is so difficult to get out. I've lost days just going through the Celeste case. Days and days. And every time you think you've heard enough, something else pops up. And every time it makes me more and more angry, and more sick, and more disgusted. And like when I was really angry and I was kind of like going, people still... Idaho one, yeah. Oh, the Idaho one. Oh. It was the... What was getting to me was the trying to explain to people that when it came to the Idaho case, that he pled guilty out his own mouth. He said, yes, I did it all. When Judge Hitler had said to him, did you on November go to the house with, intent to? And he said yes. 5 times, because obviously it's a burglary charge as well. And then when he was asked after each charge, how'd you plead? He said guilty to each and every single one. Put a light on and grabbing a drink too. Back to 6. That's fine. Take your time, honestly. This is just a decompression thing now. But I lived and breathed the Idaho case. I tried not to. It drove my partner insane. It went to the point that he had actually told me at one point when there was like loads of new stuff coming out, and it was just before it went to before Koberger pled out. It came to the point that he would come to mine on a Monday, and I would finish work, and he's like, right, you've got an hour, get it out. And I'd be looking at the time and I'd be going, shit, I've got more. And most of the time I went over that hour. Like, he wasn't stupid. He knew that I was going to end up going over the hour. And I know that sounds really controlling, but every single time he was coming to mine, and because I knew I was covering him, because I knew I was dissecting all the court documents, because I would sit and read them all of it, including the other cases that the motions were linked to. And I was like, it's like, you only get, and when you're covering cases, we are supposed to, and I mean, I've even got it as a sticker. Wait now, where's my comments? How did I put comment? I even have that sticker, and that's for everybody to use, and that's innocent until proven guilty, right? Because we have to sit there, we're supposed to. When we're covering these crimes, we're supposed to sit there and go, so we'll see what comes out in the trial. But what convinced it for me wasn't the probable cause affidavit, it was before that. So when it was announced of his arrest, I was working and I had my phone set to alerts, well, Google set to alerts for the Idaho case, because I was invested. Like, I couldn't believe that something like that could happen. And that was all my stuff off that was like, it was on, the alerts went on about maybe the 18th, 19th of, hi again, Miranda, so the 18th, 19th of November. Because, and by this point I was invested. And by this point I realised that I used to do unsafe things, like leaving my window open to let my cat come in and out and stuff, and there was a scaffolding right outside my window, and doing that late at night, that was a really stupid thing to do. So it made me think about safety in my own home as well, and what I could do better to keep myself as safe as possible. So there was that. Then it was obviously I have to know, and I was fed up of going, oh, the people were going, it was this person, I was just like, I'm not going to follow you. You can talk until you're blue in the face. And there was actually one creator that I followed for the case, and that actually was the one that encouraged me to start talking about true crime, and that was Aaron Teagues. Some people don't like him, but we became really good friends. So anyway, I've got all my alerts on and stuff for this case, and I'm working, and then suddenly my phone flashed up with an alert. There'd been a arrest made, and his name was Brian Koberger, but they got his age wrong initially. So I went immediately on Reddit, because I figured, I wonder if he had a profile. And I saw the profile, his Reddit profile, before it got deleted, because within 30 minutes of his arrest, that got deleted. And I had taken screenshots of this questionnaire, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I tried to go through the questionnaire to answer the questions. And the more, well, obviously I was putting in a lot of shit, because it didn't matter anyway, because it's not like I was going to send it anywhere. So I was answering the questions and going on, and answering the questions and going on, and answering the questions and going on. And then I'd taken so many screenshots, and then suddenly I couldn't go any further forwards, because by that point everything was dropped. And I was like, it's like he was asking how to murder somebody. So for me, when it came to the Brian Kohberger case, I was immediately like, nah. And I dared people to change my mind. It came to the point of, you tell me how he's no. And I was like, just go. I was like, and then obviously people tried. People tried multiple times. Many ways, he got extradited straight away, and that was a ploy to see what evidence they had. Waived his right to a speedy trial because he wanted to see what evidence they had. And then followed the motions. And then I found out that he had had a stalking situation when he was back in, when he was in no, because that's where he lived. The sales. There was a stalking situation when he was in the sales, and then a suspected other stalking situation when he was in the sales. And I was like, this is weird. And then I tried to, and I made sure, like, I got a hold of the articles, because I was like, that's going to disappear, that's going to be evidence. So I popped up everything that I started to do. I then, I was part of Discord for other things, and I had all these screenshots and all these screen recordings, and I was info dumping everywhere, and I was like passing all this information on to other people, because I was just like, look, I found this, I found this, I found this. Then I made this account because I got my last one hacked, and it was suggested that I just talk about true crime, and maybe on the odd occasion pop in, like a wee hobby, the things that I do, and I do every so often. I do the fact that I do my volunteering and stuff. Maybe put a stupid post up with the cat, or I'll put a wee post up just Chris and I. But primarily it's it's a focus on true crime and stuff. So that sheath was the smoking gun. That was the big one. I think there would have been another murder. I don't think it was done. He wouldn't have done it straight away. He would have waited a little bit. Because his frustration was already growing at Washington State University. He got fired as a TA because of his actions towards women. And I genuinely believe that he would have murdered again. And this time it wouldn't have been as big a murder as what he did Kings Road. This would have been a much smaller murder, and it wouldn't have looked similar. Remember, he was desperate to buy another He was desperate to buy another K-bar as well. So obviously a K-bar was his knife of choice. But it was leaked quite early, before the probable cause affidavits. There's been so much debate about him again. I don't know how people can say it. No, do I. It's like this one. Like, I know that I made a mistake in a video that I'd done. So the video I had made on the I'm saying like this one, like you can see what I'm on my my PC right now, because I've got a Discord. There is Discord open. So it's like this one, like the David case. I know I made a mistake when I did one of the videos, because I said that he wasn't a person of interest. What I forgot to mention was, for now. I missed the key words for now, or yet. So obviously I was accused of using the case as clickbait and putting out false information, which then caused an argument, So I deleted the comments because I was just like, I had said I made a mistake, and I was told to take the video down and do it. And by this point, I was just like, nah, no bother. If anybody says in the comment section, I'll just say for now. And then that person that started to add, I took a couple of comments down because they were being ridiculous because they were just arguing. And then they end up deleting their comments and then they unfollowed me. And I was just like, oh well, whatever. I was like, you know, everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes when they're covering something as well. I just forgot to add 2 words in. There's very rare that you could immediately go. There'll be some times that you'll question, and your mind naturally does question things when it comes to, did they do it? And there's a lot. There's been cases that I've followed that I've been written on in defence, and the defence is pulled through. Like Louise Woodburn. Don't know if anybody knows her, but After Dark Coffee and Crime actually done the whole sentence again. I remembered it when it was at the time, and I remember saying, nah, I was young, really young, when the Louise Woodburn case is. She was accused of shaking a child to death. It was in her care when she was an au pair. But there was mitigating evidence to suggest that she had nothing to do with it at all. In regards to the fact that it was a healing fracture. There was a break of his forearm, and all of these had happened before Louise had even, and it was proven, was even in, yes, Matthew, even before baby Matthew was in Louise's care. I remember this being a case that I followed, and I was a child, because my mum and dad were watching it. And so much it was like, at the time, was complete jargon. I had no idea what they were talking about. And I remembered at the time there was a lot of focus on languages that us in the UK would naturally use, that is literally, oh, just pop them in the cot. But for most in America, the pop, they're thinking popped, as in popped them in the face. Oh, I just dropped them down here. But dropping down here is literally like me going, oh, I just dropped up my hands. You know, I just popped it down. I just popped them in somewhere. Or I've just popped that down. I've not punched it, but a lot of it is because of the languages that was used. So the languages that was used against her was, I thought, was really unfair. And I still believe that Louise Woodward is innocent. And I think that was a massive miscarriage of justice. And I think it had something to do with the parents, specifically the mum. That's my hot take on that. And most people will disagree. So, but most people will disagree with that. Because although the charge was changed and she got out, she was still charged with manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. So she's still the one that's accused, that she's still the one that was found guilty for causing his death. Even though I believe it was the mum. Baby Matthew fell off the mum's bed. Thank you for the rose. And that was the case that actually got After Dark, Coffee and Crime and I actually talking. And I ended up becoming mod for her. And because she was covering it. And obviously I was helping her out by going, Louise Woodward case, can't remember what it was, 90 something. And obviously explain, you know that rough explanation that you can do, and then a mod can then pin it, or After Dark Coffee and Crime, she would be pinning it, or I would just constantly, ever so often, just copy and paste. Well, I had it on a copy paste, just so I could paste it in so that people knew what she was covering and stuff, and she was really grateful for that. And we end up modding for her. She was grateful for that. And like it was really interesting to watch the trial as an adult to see if I still felt the same way, and I did. And if anything, I owned it with more of my conviction that she is innocent. So I'm not one of those people that I'll say, oh, 100% that person's guilty. If I think, when I feel it here, that they are, I can't not say it. I can't go 100% quiet over this. I will say that in the eyes of the law, they're innocent until proven guilty, because we have to. But then there is cases, like I mentioned, if you were here from the start, when we was, a lot of people did, because it was shaken baby syndrome, you know, and people hate me for my opinion on the Luke Mitchell case. I think he's guilty. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people out there disagree with me. But I read the court documentation that was out, and that is freely out there, that somebody had put out as a FOIA. And yes, I do agree that the Daily Record and the Daily Mail and the Sun did do a trial by media. However, I was working at the time, so I actually didn't watch all of this. I was a full-time chef, so I had no. If I wasn't working, I was off, like trying to spend time with friends or have some semblance of life. But there was strange things about the case, and also I do remember questioning, if you're innocent, why would you put the Nirvana lyrics on a bouquet that he sent to her funeral? That I'll kill you. It's Nirvana lyrics, I know, but it was weird. You know, he would be free if he actually, like, told the truth. I do think that he's lying. Like, I've heard what people have said. I've listened to what people have said. Like I said, I dare people to tell me I'm wrong. Or I dare people to change my mind. Thank you for the follow, Charlie. I dare people to change my mind, because prove me I'm wrong. You know, challenge me. I'm happy to be challenged. Or I'm happy to be proven, I'm happy to be proven wrong as well. That's why I'm on the fence low. Surely plead guilty to be let breathe. And I get that. I don't think you're wrong. But you can't say he's guilty without also being her brother was too. Oh, and hi, Scottish Dad Wales. Long time no see. No, there's something shady about the brother. I do agree. There's something shady about that. I think they were kind of in it together in regards to the murder, because there was some evidence to suggest that the brother had some involvement in it as well. But I do think Luke is guilty. But I think that potentially, and this is potential, and this is just my thoughts only, that the reason why he's not come out to say that he is 100% guilty, because there was always a co-conspirator in regards to it. There was a co-defendant. There was I say co-defendant, he would be thing, but there was a co-conspirator in regards to it. There was an accomplice. So a lot of people won't. Thank you for the follow, Pauline. A lot of people won't admit to, like, it being 100% guilty if somebody else was involved. And maybe he just wanted the police to dig that little bit deeper to find the co-conspirator. Does that make sense? Yeah, so who's that scary? How close to him? I don't know what you mean. Okay, so wasn't the brother's DNA on her. His DNA was found near her body. DNA believed to have been found near the body. However, given the fact that he's her brother, couldn't the DNA have been through clothes washing and stuff? Just putting that one out there. They was her brother. They lived in the same house. Just saying. Again, it's all the wee rabbit holes. I've went down all the rabbit holes, trust me. So Charlie. Well, there were questions at one of the grand juries. Like who's protecting her, who's protecting himself from her parents. He either didn't, someone else was involved. I've always believed that he has. I'm happy to open up like conversations in regards to this. Like I suppose I might as well call him my nephew. My partner's eldest nephew, so in essence mine as well, I suppose. We had this conversation actually because he says that, you know, he knows that I cover true crime and stuff, and he's a bit young to be on my lives anyway. And he said he follows a law, and he followed the Luke Mitchell case, given the fact that it was in Edinburgh. So I says to him, so what do you think? Is he innocent or guilty? And he said he was guilty. And that was a young person. And so what do you think, innocent or guilty? And so I said, why? And he said, but the jury found him guilty. And I was just like, but sometimes the jury can be wrong. But then the appeals never work. There's been multiple appeals. The appeals never work. I know there's been multiple miscarriages of justice. Living life for life, however, Luke has spent more time. Oh, like there's a reason why I've still not covered the James Bulger case. I was a child when James Bulger was killed. And yes, they were children. Yes, I understand why they were released. But John Venables is a danger to society. And that's why James Bulger's the appeals won't work, because it would be the biggest man. But then there's been miscarriages of justice. He was technically a child, you're right. Especially in the eyes of the law, he was actually technically a child because of the that whole 25-year-old argument that's in the Scottish law. So you'll know what I mean by that, you know, the whole whether they were able to formulate correct and appropriate decisions under the age of 25. At least once you're a kid, do it again. Life could be sort out. John Venables is a danger to society and should not get out. And baby, I think you're perfect in everything you say. I just feel safe. No, like I said, no, honestly, like happy to, like, I've got a small. Thankfully, it's been quite a small number that's been coming today because it's been quite. I get all the antsiness when a lot of people come in. I had a couple of lives where I was sitting on over 100 people, and I was like, this is scaring me. So I came live early tonight, so I think normally I'm in a bit later, so normally there's more people here, but I'm just having a chill out now, so I'm so happy for other people's opinion. One thing I will say, I'll never shy away from somebody else's questions or opinions. I'm happy to think it. But no, I find the James Bulger case difficult to cover purely because of the anger I feel towards what happened to the little boy. Am I doing a promise is not new? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And the Hernandez brothers. Now, I have quite a strong opinion on the Hernandez brothers. I believe these brothers were abused. I believe that dad was a sick cunt, and that Jose exerted so much control over they two that they were fearful for their life. They were fearful about when the next attack was going to happen as well. I like pop-up. See, I don't make people pop it up. But I'm just answering that question just really quick. So I think that the Menendez brothers should be out and it should be free. I very much backed the parole hearing. I was gutted for them when they never got out. I was so happy when when there was a case review up for that, etc. The brothers were abused. Kitty knew about it. Was it overkill? Yes. Do they think they should get out? Yes. If Gypsy Rose Blanchard can walk free, and she could be all over the internet acting like some wannabe fucking influencer, then they two should be out too.
This is why I like your page, because when you compare cases, everyone would be free or everyone would be in jail. Does that make sense? So like, not you personally, like, but I'm saying like the one I'm thinking of now is, do you know the young lad? I don't fucking watch the news as much as I should. But I only just found out the other day there's another lad who killed his parents, whose dad was a director, producer. Can't think of the name. He went to a Hollywood party and acted irrational, and then he stabbed his mum and dad to death. His dad was very famous. He's now on trial right now as we speak.
Was that the actor? The boy actor?
He was an actor, but he wasn't an actor. That was nepotism. But yeah, but his dad was a producer, director, Shine something. He
did star in something, eh?
Aye, but he stabbed his mum and his dad.
Aye. Oh no! Oh, do you mean Nick Rayner?
Rayner, that's the one, yeah.
Aye, yes. Oh my
well,
God.
That's going to come down to abuse as well, isn't it? Come on.
Nah, that's got to be mental health.
And abuse, though. Where does the mental health come from?
The schizophrenia, though.
Aye, but at the same time, why is the brother all of a sudden got... Like, so, he's... Well, from what I've seen, I'm not as in depth as you are. You go deep into shit, right? But what I can see is the brother is like a multi-millionaire now, right? Through no means... It's not through the trust fund, right? And now the brother who killed his parents is fighting for a £1.5 million trust fund to fight his case.
Mm-hmm.
So how's one brother now became like a multi-millionaire, and the brother who killed his parents is fighting to get 1.5 million from a trust fund? Or
is that what the estate is worth, though?
But they should be sharing it, shouldn't they?
Aye, but then if you're accused of murder, should you get a share of that estate?
Until you prove your innocence or mental capacity, yes. That's really controversial, but yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Like, because I do know that although the Menendez were all...
My big thing is the older brother is now like a multi-millionaire and going against his younger brother. And he was just mentally unstable. Nothing happened. My parents were perfect.
I didn't follow the case enough to actually, like...
I could be completely wrong, because I've only seen a few things, but it's the same as the whole, like, the Menendez brothers thing. No one looked into the parents, ever.
No, and you want to know what really pisses me off? And I've got the book as well from the jury's perspective. It's one of the female juries that were on the first trial, you know, the one where it's a mistrial. And they were happy to talk about the sexual abuse that they endured. There was witnesses to prove that something had happened, that one of the boy bands that Jose, whatever, had like been a manager of, had testified that he had been abused by
I know this sounds like a stupid thing, but if you follow the case, you'll know what I'm talking about. Who's the older twin?
They're no twins. I always get confused with the two. It's Eric and Lyle, and I can never remember what one's the older one, what one's the younger one.
One was a twin though, and one died.
Oh, well, I didn't hear about that, but I just knew that it was Eric and Lyle, and I just know them as the two brothers, to be fair. I know about the...
The Menendez.
Aye.
That you're talking about?
Aye.
Right, so the older one was a twin, and the baby died in birth. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's not like, but I know them apart because of that. Because one was a twin, one wasn't.
Thank you, Demi and Mirangels. I always get confused about who's the oldest of the two. Even though I've covered it, I've covered it in a live, and I covered it when it was their parole.
Anyway, so the oldest one did an interview with somebody and said, "Oh yeah, Daddy's friends come in and cuddle us all the time," or something like that. And they tried not to do that in the court. Like, oh, cuddle, anyone can cuddle anybody, but what do you mean by cuddle? Come on now.
Pretty obvious. Like,
by the way, I agree with you. Like, but I feel like it's now becoming a thing. People are killing their parents. What the fuck now? Why?
I do agree. There is a lot of that, and there's a lot of that when they do it. It's like I can't remember the boy's name, the Polish boy that was adopted by the American couple. He had gone through hell and back. I might not have been Poland. I think it was Ukraine actually. And it is the definition of an evil adopted child because he tried to claim that there was abuse and all the rest of it and the thing, and that was proven to be a lie. All of that was proven to be a lie. That was what his defense.
Oh, and then you got the girl who was actually like fucking 19 or something, and got adopted as a 4-year-old or some shit like that. Like,
but then I've seen her TikToks and stuff.
We should team up and just argue points because we don't disagree. We're just fucking throwing points backwards and forwards. It's quite funny. We're not disagreeing with each other.
But like there was proof that she was a child.
I've got proof that I'm 5 years old.
Yes, the Dima case.
I got my mentality and the size of my penis. I'm a 5-year-old man.
Well, like
I was supposed that was it. By the way.
I remember.
I should have thought about that joke for a second. That was disgusting. Sorry, my bad.
So I remember, as I will always say, at this point, and even though I've got the trigger warning up, at this point, because I've got no pictures up and I've got nothing written about what this live is about, this is the chill out bit where you can say pretty much the daft stuff. So don't worry about it. And my account's over 18, so no kids can get into my live, so it's fine. Unless they've lied about their age, but you know.
Well, all the paedophiles, you're in the wrong place, baby. Leave this live now. You're in the wrong place. You ain't finding no one.
Nah.
By the way, I'm not 5, I'm 37. Thank you very much.
By the way, for those that don't know, this is Stefan. He's funny. He's gone through a lot, and I think that I followed you back when I got my we were followed each other when back when my band account, well, not band account, my lost account, the one that got hacked.
Yeah, you got lost. Yeah, I got lost too.
And then this one got banned for a while, but I got it back, which was nice because I was gutted because I had so much on this one.
But your followers went down after that because people unfollow accounts that got banned. Everyone, if it says account unknown, people just unfollow it.
Yeah.
And when you get it back, you come back with like fucking 10,000 less followers. It's fucking annoying.
Well, I never had that many to start with. Like, I've only recently managed to get to the 10,000. I mean, it's been
it's just because I'm special. That's why. Sorry about that.
I'm not live enough to get for people. You know, now that I'm going live a bit more often, obviously people are now finding me now. But initially, I wasn't going live enough. I
can't go live on my own anymore. I maybe go live with other people like you because that was like that subject. We've totally lost the fucking subject now I was talking about. But the Luke Mitchell thing, that's why I fucking said, do you know what, I'm going to come and talk to you about it because I feel like there's something else going on there.
Mate, like I said, like I'm open to people.
But do you know what I think they should do? Seriously now, this is my personal opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I came on to say, right? And I would love you to either agree or disagree with me or anyone that's watching, right? I believe now, this is why I mentioned James Bulger's killers, right? Let the boy out, right? If there is any doubt in anyone's mind, there shouldn't be an appeal now because he's done his fucking time. He's done a life sentence that most people don't ever do. They get out half their time on license, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
He was 16 years old. How old is he now? Older than me. I think he's coming up 40 now, isn't
Hey, I would be because he would be a bit younger than me. So
he? He's coming up 40. He spent all his life in prison. Right, you've got people who literally kill their own grandmother who got out faster than him. If there is a doubt in anyone's mind that he did or didn't do it, like, cool. I'm not saying it, who cares? The truth needs to come out, right? But at the same time, just let the boy out. Prove his innocence if it is innocence, right? But if they say with their whole heart he was 100% guilty, all they have to say is he's done his time. Because he has. Like, and that's stupid because I say life for life, but that's cool. But that's not the world we live in. We live in a world where you can kill somebody at 16 years old and get out. You could kill a 50-year-old if you're 16, yeah? And you can get out before you're their age. Which is weird. It's cool. We're not America. We're Britain. Our rules are fucking weird.
Oh, and it's going to get worse. This whole by December, there's going to be at least 20,000 people that are going to get out early.
All that, yeah. All of that.
Georgie, we were talking about Luke Mitchell, and obviously the fact that he has served his time, he's served the full sentence and then some. And
Exactly.
they keep saying that they won't let him out unless he admits what he's done.
I say this now. I have never been to prison. Wink, wink. I have not. Maybe have. But if I was in for something I didn't do, I actually feel like I did. I do have the morals to say no. I'm not admitting, especially to something like that. What's the point in being free in a world where people think you've done that? I would rather stay in a cell where people believed I was still maybe innocent.
I never saw it that way. See, again, and this is why I have these conversations.
I would never want to live in a world where people think I could do something to something like Jodie, like, oh, okay, I've done it. Let me go and live in this world. But everyone thinks you've done that. Absolutely not. I'd rather live in a fucking 5x5 cell, knowing that I didn't.
You got a point, actually, to be fair. Maybe I should have a look through the case again, just to actually see if I can maybe just use it as from the eyes that I know that I can look into a case now and see if I can make a non-judgmental opinion now as I'm a lot older. At the same time, which I'm happy that's the thing, I'm happy to do. It would just take me a wee bit of time because obviously the archives are getting a hoodie on. I've came across it once and I read through them and I was just like, that's pushing the court records and stuff and the documentation that is there. It is on the internet for everybody to see. The FOIA is there. And it's open for, yes, I've seen ex-officers. You can say it's a miscarriage of justice. Like, happy to, like, it's going to take me a bit, and obviously, given the fact that I was speaking about multiple things today, it's not going to be it's a bit lower on the agenda, because obviously you've got the David Anthony Burke case that's currently live and ongoing, and like I want to see justice.
By the way, as soon as I jumped in, I'm gonna let you crack on though, because I'm gonna have to go and fucking eat my food to go to bed. Fucking work fucking 5. But that's my opinion. Is like I feel like no one's going to stay in jail if you give them one option. Maybe they might think you're tricking them, like admit it, and you can get out, and then you admit it, and like you're getting 20 years. But that's not the UK. But I wouldn't. Would you?
Nah.
I'd rather stay in a prison cell for the rest of my life knowing that people know I am innocent rather than getting out and the whole world thinking I'm guilty.
Which is fair.
And I think that's quite poignant when it comes to Luke's case. And it shouldn't have taken this long. But I applaud him for fucking sticking by it, because I think I would. I don't know, actually, because I might just be like, do you know what? Let me go and see my family. Fuck it, I done it. There you go, I done it. There you go. I fucking done it. Let me out.
Yeah, but it also makes you wonder, could it be the fact that he doesn't want to admit it as well, and he knows that he's got the protection of being inside? Because that was something else that I remember thinking about before. Could it be the fact
But you know, no, he's done his sentence now. I've heard this before, but no, he's done his sentence. He could move anywhere he wants in the world now, apart from Australia and America, which isn't anywhere in the world. But he could move to a remote area. He could sell his story, which is worth millions now, because he's a different type of story. He's a big story. He phones up the Daily Record, give me £1 million, I'll tell you everything.
And they would give it.
Of course they would. And then he just goes off and lives his life. Whether he tells them every gory detail or whether he admits his innocence, doesn't matter. They'll still take the story, give him £1 million, he goes and lives his life.
Great. Mirangels, of course it's okay for you to go. Don't ever think you have to ask to leave. You're not.
I'm asking to leave. I thought you were holding me hostage. I'm leaving too.
Nobody sells hostages. They're all entitled to have a life outside.
I'm going to jump back on as well, right? Another night, but tonight I'm going to go and eat my Sunday dinner that I didn't eat, and then I'm going to fucking go to bed.
Well, enjoy your dinner, Stefan. Thank you for popping up.
I cooked it, so it's fine.
Work's not too hard tomorrow.
Well, I don't. I just drive, so it's fine. Right, have a nice night. Ta.
Me too. And Mirangels, you have a really good night as well. I am off tomorrow. I can't believe I've been live this long. Thank you so much for the finger heart. I can't believe I've been live for so long. I think it's the longest I've been live since I covered the Brian Koberger's plea hearing, and that was because I was allowing all the little conversations and stuff going on. Well, the victim impact statements, that sounded like I was degrading a little bit of the victims, but no, like, I know it's been a long one tonight, and I know I've will talk about a lot. It was nice to shoot the breeze a little bit with Stefan there as well. He's funny. He's got a lovely wee family as well. But no, thank you everybody for being here, especially if you were here at the start. I know I have been on for hours. My voice is beginning to waver just a tiny little bit. But Lee sent me something to look at earlier. I will try and make some time to actually maybe go through the Luke Mitchell case again. Maybe look at it with a different type of perspective as well, as opposed to how I feel. But I think I might have to go as well. I'm absolutely shattered. But thank you everybody for being here. I know I had a lot of taps, and I've had a lot of gifts, and I've had a lot of new followers, so I thank you all. Appreciate you sitting listening to me for hours on end. So you all have an amazing evening. Thank you again. Stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you all in the Mean Street Side TikTok.